Get it out to Forbert. He's going to drag it back, and that's going to do it here. The final 5 seconds will tick off. Tough homestand for the St. Louis Blues. Unable to follow up a really solid victory in Vegas. The Blues fall 3 straight on home ice.
That just left a terrible taste in my mouth.
Let's get nasty on a Tuesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers out today. Our dear friend, a little sick, a little under the weather. If you listen
Was it? I mean, I know he's not feeling well, but I mean, after watching what he had to watch, I'm sure that probably played into it.
You know, there is a point in the season when everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean fans, media, you kind of have your breaking point. I think last night was the breaking point for a lot of people. Not everyone, because we've been getting text messages that have been more frequent over the last week and a half that have been, why aren't you guys being more critical of this Blues team? Can't you guys see that this isn't going anywhere? This is not a playoff team. They're not good enough, ... You were right. We overvalued. I don't even know if we overvalued. Let me take a step back here. I think there's always a floor and a ceiling to a season. And I think we, in the fast lane, we tended to look at the Blues more as a ceiling team. If enough things go right, we're going to play to the ceiling being a playoff team. They weren't going to. We never said that they were going to make a deep run. We never said that they're a Stanley Cup team. We figured playoffs. For me, it was playoffs for sure. I thought the way that they were constructed, they were at the very least a wild card team. When they got off to a bad start, that wasn't good. But when Jim Montgomery came in, I stayed true. I thought it was a playoff team. The dam has broke. We have reached a point now in this season where everybody can come together and say, not happening. They're not a playoff team. They're not good enough to be a playoff team. You lose 5-2 to the Canucks last night. You get shut out by Dallas over the weekend. You lose the second game in the home and home against the Golden Knights 4-2 after you blew multiple leads to secure just a shootout win against the Golden Knights. You can't win 3 straight. This is it. This is the moment where the dam broke, and we all need to admit that there's legit problems with this roster. Doug Armstrong admitted today that there's legit problems with the roster because, and we'll get into this a little bit more moving forward here, Brandon Saad was placed on waivers. This starts it. This is the moment. This is the movement now. Traded Perunovic yesterday, put Saad on waivers today. He's admitting, not good enough. We need to evaluate some other players on the roster and potentially move some other guys if we can, which is a big caveat.
So, for me, I've been saying I'm going to stay even keel. I'm not going to get too high or get too low. Watching that is a little bit frustrating. Because
you can get low.
Yeah, low. I'm sorry.
Don't you dare.
Okay.
Don't you dare.
But no, I think watching... Flow Rider.
Oh, you're right.
Watching them perform, it's like as a former player, right? You have a level of expectation for your craft, for what you do, for how hard you're going to work, for how there's a level of pride and just. I'm going to work hard for my brothers. I'm going to work hard for the fans that pay to watch us play, that spend their hard-earned money for this 2.5 hours, 3 hours of entertainment. I'm going to do that. At times, I feel like there are flashes of players that do that. I thought Matthew Joseph played pretty well. He had some shots on goal. You could see why he's going to get more opportunities or why he should get more opportunities. But then you have plays where you're like, how are 3 guys going off the ice and now they got a 1-on-none? How does that happen? How do you give up a shorthanded goal when you look like you're on the break and now they're scoring right behind you? And everybody's in chase mode. How do you... And I was asking Marshy this, the first goal, 3 minutes into the game, Ryan Suter is giving it his all. He's laying out on the ice. But then you got two players, it looked like, I think it was Joseph and Saad, both chasing the puck. And there's a player like, hey, I'm wide open. Just pass it to me. I'll score. Like, how is it 3 guys chasing one, but nobody knows that there are 2 other players that are undefended? Like, I guess the frustration for me is, I don't know if it's effort. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they are intelligent hockey players. Otherwise, you wouldn't be at this level. But it has to be effort, and sometimes when you're struggling, you start to do too much instead of just do what you're supposed to do. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe guys are starting to do too much. I got to be the one to make this play. So all 3 of us start thinking that way, and we're all 3 going here and, oh, crap, nope, I don't need to do that. I should do this. So it is frustrating. It is, at times, it feels like a lack of effort and hard work, but I know that's not the case, but it just seems that way, and that's the part that I think is frustrating for fans.
Here's Jim Montgomery post-game talking about not being good enough and also diving into the attitude right now of the team collectively.
Not good enough in every area. Special teams, 5-on-5 play, D zone, neutral zone, O zone, coaching. We all weren't good enough tonight. Not acceptable. Common theme that I have seen is a lack of energy, that of playing to what we can do. That's been the common. It's been a week here where I don't know if it's a malaise, and that's my fault. I have to get the group to engage more and to be, I don't want to say prepared, because it's not prepared. It's having the attitude of, we're going to do this. And it's not there right now. And, you know, if it's not there in the entire group, that's where I have to look at myself and I have to look in the mirror and what do I have to do different to get them to battle through adversity, to battle through all this. We're not overcoming it within the game right now.
A couple things here. One, accountability. One thing I wrote down, accountability from Jim Montgomery. That's what leaders do. You take account. That's what leaders do. That's when you're at the top of the food chain. That's what you have to do. You don't point fingers. You take, even if it's not your fault, you put it on yourself. First rule in leadership: everything's your fault. He took accountability there. He's the right man in place. It's the players.
Oh, hey,
It's the players. Craig Berube won a Stanley Cup here. Fired. You replace Berube with Bannister, and Bannister, a little bit of an uptick when he took over for Berube. Eventually, though, couldn't have that carryover. Jim Montgomery becomes available. Bannister's fired. Three coaches now. It's the players. It's not Jim Montgomery. They have the right head coach.
Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even 3 full years.
No, because Bannister was fired in November.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not Jim Montgomery. The other thing I wrote down, don't believe. These players don't believe they're good enough. And when you don't believe you're good enough, I don't know who can tell you otherwise. You have to show yourself. You have to prove it to yourself that you're good enough. You have to battle through that adversity to know that you can come out the other side and have success. It doesn't matter what Jim Montgomery says to these guys. And he even stopped himself. He gets prepared. He knows the team is prepared. He knows his coaching staff has told them X, Y, and Z. That's why he stopped himself when he said, I don't want to say prepared. But if these guys are lacking energy, that's on you, players. If you're lacking the belief as a team that you can win a game, especially on home ice where you're 2 games below 500 now, that is on you, players. And it's not every player. We know the ones that are struggling. We know the ones that are probably on this roster only because they need warm bodies right now. And then there are guys that are just flat out not living up to the contract, not living up to the expectation, not performing at their best. One of them was just waived. So it's up to the players. Jim Montgomery isn't going to... Mike Tomlin can inspire to a certain degree. But once you guys step on the field, he can't do anything more outside of make sure that you're in the right position. You have to execute.
You know, he talked about attitude as well, and like if you have a bad attitude going into something, I don't care if it's a sports game or it's an event you're going to or whatever it is, you're not going to have a good time. And you're probably not going to perform the way that you want to in said game or event, or if you're in a meeting or whatever it is.
Right.
You're showing a PowerPoint presentation. You're not on your game if you go in with a bad attitude, and you're definitely not going to perform if you continue that bad attitude throughout the course of said game, said meeting, said whatever. Like, it's just not going to work. And like we've seen too many times, at least in this last stretch, where these players, we can see it. Like, as fans, you can see it. It's not like they're, you're not watching it and they're not showing it.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the bad body language, and we talked about this, and it continues to happen.
Somebody in the snake pit had mentioned how, this last night was a bad matchup. Vancouver has basically had the Blues number since 2020. I'm paraphrasing. It's actually not the case.
No, the Blues beat them earlier this year.
The Blues were going into last night. The Blues had won 8 of the last 10 matchups with Vancouver. Last night is a microcosm of what we have seen all season, unfortunately, or what we have seen for stretches. It's not good enough. Not even close. 2:15, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We've got more on your Blues, including what the Brandon Saad move means for Army, how he looks at this retool, what he wants to see moving forward. Some really interesting stuff from Army today after morning skate. That's next on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis and Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter, Doug Armstrong addressed the media earlier today after the Blues placed Brandon Saad on waivers. Saad will report to the AHL Springfield if he goes unclaimed on the waiver wire. Apparently, the Blues reportedly tried to trade Saad over the last couple of weeks, and there was no takers. Saad even was willing to waive his no-trade clause. But there's two issues right now. One, he hasn't produced. And two, he's got a $4.5 million cap hit. It's a major factor. So if he doesn't get picked up, Saad will report to Springfield. Here's Doug Armstrong on how we got here, got to this point with Saad.
Obviously, the production's not there. I think he scored in 4 games this year. He's got 7 goals, 2 goals in 3 games. So, and we've, for a couple of years, we've really nibbled around the edges, bringing in, obviously, different coaches, bringing in different support players, and but the record is still the same. And I think when I look at Broberg and Holloway and Fasca and Suter, I think they've done a nice job coming in, doing what we've asked them to do. But there's been a group that's been here for a while that things don't seem to be changing, and collectively, you have to start chipping further and further up.
If you look at this roster, if Doug Armstrong looks at this roster, there inevitably are going to be guys that he highlights to say, if we can, we're going to move on.
Right.
Saad was probably the easiest one. He's got a year left in his contract. Maybe you get somebody to bite. But perhaps you could trade him, you can move on. There weren't enough interested parties, so now you got to waive him. I don't know if you're going to be able to move on from some of the other guys that maybe you want to move on from. And that's part of Army's challenge now, because he signed a lot of these guys to long-term deals.
Who would you say are some of the other guys that potentially could be in that? I mean, yeah. Who are the other guys?
Well, Pavel Buchnevich is having a rough year.
I don't think he's going anywhere. He's under contract.
His new deal hasn't even kicked in yet.
But he
could be sure. The other guy, I wonder if maybe I don't know if we're there yet on him. I was going to say Robert Thomas, but I don't know if we're there yet.
I don't think he's going anywhere either.
He's 25 years old. He's in another, I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. So
would a team be interested in Braden Shen?
Maybe.
He's having a decent year, though. It's weird.
Right, but where are we?
Where are we?
Where are we in the blue? Because to me, this seems to be a bit of a, this is the retool. This is part of the retool.
Can you afford to get rid of him if he's your second-line center and you've been looking for centermen all season? You had Pavel Buchnevich playing that position. You can't afford to get rid of him because who's going to play it?
Okay, but where are we in the retool, though? That's that I think. So I'm looking big picture. I'm not just looking at this season.
I think he's too crucial to the locker room.
All right, what about Justin Falk?
I'm okay parting ways.
Okay. Who's going to be interested?
That's the thing. Who would be interested in any of these players?
That's my point.
So Justin Falk is going, who's replacing him? Perunovic you just traded. You're bringing Matthew Kessel back up. You're saying for this season, to finish this season out, you want to move on, you want to trade him for another player, or you're trying to just do the same thing, waive him like you just did Brandon Saad?
Well, they just waived Brandon Saad, right? Mm-hmm. To do what? To probably get a look at Texier.
Okay.
I have to imagine there's some defenseman that Army would like to get maybe a longer look at, whoever that may be. That is why you free up that spot. So you create that spot for a player that is either underproducing or is not going to be a part of the next 3-year window. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just about this year. What do you got, Marsh?
Oh, I think they're in a hell of a spot. Hell of a spot.
Good spot, Marshy?
Oh, Carey.
Yeah, the great Marshy said, what's today? 2:25.
No, don't be
January
putting words
28th.
into
Marshy
my
said
mouth.
they are in a hell of a spot. You decide how you meant it, though.
Well, if you go watch the movie Miracle, you might understand what I'm saying.
All right, here. So the question eventually earlier today was about, okay, well, what about some of these young guys, specifically Dusty Dvorak?
He's calling football game. Well, football season over.
It's a callback to a previous show. He was asked, Army was asked about Dvorak. Here's his response.
What we don't want to do is, when we talk about this, and it's a true belief, is we don't want to put players in positions to fail. That's a streaky bunch down there, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries. They're playing pretty good right now. I'm not really sure bringing any of them younger players up here right now would benefit them long term, but that could change in a week. It could change. But for right now, I'd like to see what Texier can do. As our season is gone, we've inserted and taken out that level of player, that part of our lineup, to know change above it. And so right now, let's just settle in with a group of guys and play and see what they can do. Our pro scout saw something in Texier, and now I'd like to see what they saw and give him an opportunity.
I think that was a really honest answer. Do you want to bring up a young kid with a load of talent who might not be quite ready yet, but you want to dump them into this situation?
And by this situation, you mean a situation where leadership seems to be lacking, seems to be missing.
I mean, if Monty's talking about lack of energy, a lack of
lack of leadership.
Exactly.
Because what happens if you're in your third coach in 12 months, it ain't the coach, man. It's the players. And so I said this a couple of weeks ago. You can't fire any more coaches. So what happens? Players start losing their jobs. They start getting traded. They start moving in different directions because there's an obvious issue that it's not the coaching that is getting us to this place. It's the players, or it's the mindset. And so I think when you're listening to Army, he's saying what he really probably wanted to say is, hey, no way in hell I'm bringing those guys up into this clubhouse, into this locker room, into this dressing room. I'm not bringing them here to be soured by what we have going on, because there's something that's not happening in the way that it needs to happen. And when you have a team that lacks leadership or doesn't have, people, and by leadership, I'm not saying you don't have to be punching people in the face. You don't have to threaten people to do their job, or I'm going to kick your ass. Like, it's not that leadership. It's, this is what we expect from you. Are you able and willing to meet these standards? If you're not, you probably shouldn't play. Mm-hmm. I've been on teams where I'm like, get this guy the hell off the field. Why are you, hey, coach, get his ass off. Don't put him back out here. I don't want to see him back out here. Why is he here? Because if he's going to, it's going to be a problem if I have to see him here again. Because he's not working hard, he don't know what the hell to do, and he's not giving great effort, and he's going to get us in a bad way. So, coach, and in front of him, get his ass off. Right? Hey, him. Yep, this one. Get him off. Bring somebody else. Because that's what leadership is. It's not, I don't care how much of a friend you are if you're not willing to do what we need to do on the field, on the ice. We can be friends, but we can't be friends if you're not working hard and it's costing us, which eventually is going to cost me. It's going to cost me a job. It's going to cost my family. It's going to cost how I take care of my family. That's what happens when you don't perform well. And if you are allowing your teammates to be that way, and because your best friends or your buddies off the ice or your buddies off the field, you're not going to see that person much longer. Mm-hmm. One of you all is going to be gone. So to me, it's leadership that you don't want to have young guys coming into. It's happened. I've seen it happen in Pittsburgh. Look at the receiver room for years. There's one particular receiver that did what he wanted to do. And from year after year after year, we've seen that transition from players that played with him, that play with the next guy, that play with the next guy. That's the mindset. It's a disease that needs to be eradicated. Like, you got to get it out of the system. So, and I don't know if it's to that level with the St. Louis Blues, but there is in my opinion, a lack of leadership where it's not about being physically confrontational, but it's about, man, we have to reach that. We have to work this way. And if we're not going to win games. And we really can't be buddy-buddy if you're not willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. Ryan has mentioned Shen a couple times. So leadership starts and ends with Shen. He also mentioned, well, does that include your captain? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But it can't just be one guy.
All right, and you saw him yesterday.
There's a leadership group. He wears the C, but in Pittsburgh with your guys, Carey, there was multiple leaders. There can't just be one guy. It's not a dictatorship. So Shen is a part of it, but he is just a part of it.
But also, you talk about leaderships coming from an off-ice thing or an off-field thing, but that is a huge thing on the field, on the ice too. The Blues get scored on. Literally, he drops some mitts and beats the brakes off of, I believe it was JT Miller. Yeah, one punch, see you later.
Yeah,
one punch, man. That's what you need to do as a leader is to, man, we are not in this game right now for the 100th time, it feels like.
Right.
What do I have to do to get these guys back on track quickly? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna get the crowd going. I'm gonna beat the brakes off this dude.
Yep.
To me, that is what a leader does. And he's had a good year. He's had a good year. Last year, maybe not so much. This year, he has. I don't think it's him.
All right.
I was gonna say I don't think that's I don't think for people that are not engaged, and I mean by teammates, you punching somebody in the face because you're pissed off, if they're not engaged, that doesn't move them. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make them, oh, he's pissed off. Yeah. They don't. If they don't care, they don't care.
But can you do anything about that?
Which is why, as a leader, I'm telling the coach, don't put his ass back out here again.
Gotcha.
In front of him. Mm-hmm. This is the expectation. Get the hell away from me. If you're not going to work hard, if you're not going to play both ends, if you're not going to back check, if you're not going to do all of the things that we're asking of you, whatever that is, if the coach has to keep repeating himself in film about the same things, coach, don't put his ass out there. Well, he ain't doing it no way, so what difference does it make if he's out there or not? Get him the hell away from me. But you have to be, you talked about leadership in Pittsburgh. We had plenty of it. We did. We had guys that I remember James Harrison. We had a new special teams coach. I've said this before. There was a standard for the entire team, coaches included. Mm-hmm. We had a new special teams coach that was cussing, get your ass, just cussing grown men out. And James Harrison tapped him on the shoulder, hey, man, I know you new here. Yeah, we don't talk to people like that here. This is the standard. You can get your point across, but you're not going to cuss nobody out.
Yeah.
Not if they ain't done nothing wrong, just cussing just to be cussing. Hey, we don't do that. Coach said, okay. Not a problem. Didn't cuss nobody else out again.
Nice.
Because it's a level of respect for your teammates and for the guys, for the men in that locker room that this is how we're going to do it. If everybody is on board, put your hand in and let's go. If you have any reservations, there's the door, and we won't miss you. We'll figure it out without you. And that has to be the mindset and the way that they go about their business.
Yeah. All right, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter, to the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What's trending is next.
Hey, it's Super Bowl champ Carey Davis, and if you are in need of new windows, you're tired of the cold air coming in this winter, then you need to call my good friends over at Window Nation. They are offering 60% off of all window styles, and you pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. You can get a free no-obligation quote right now at 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com. They can get your window installed in 1 day or less. Window Nation windows come with a lifetime warranty. All they do is windows. They're experts. Last year alone, they installed over 200,000 windows, with 96% of them requiring no follow-up service. They are They are going to get that window in, as I said, one day or less. 60% off of all styles. That includes double hung, bays, bows, picture windows, and everything. And again, you pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. They are an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call today, 866-90NATION, or go online at windownation.com. Again, that's 60% off of all window styles. Pay nothing for 2 full years. Windownation.com, 866-90NATION. Tell them Carey sent you.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lose to the Vancouver Canucks last night by a final score of 5-2. Today they placed Brandon Saad on waivers. Doug Armstrong announced in his media session today Saad has 1 year left at a $4.5 million cap hit and possesses a no-trade clause. I talked to he and his representative, Doug Armstrong, said if he gets claimed, he'll be on a new team. If not, he'll go down to play in Springfield. That will open up some space for different players that I'd like to see get in the lineup, so we'll see where it goes. We'll keep discussing your St. Louis Blues throughout the remainder of the show. We'll talk with Joe Vitale at 5 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. The Blues will take on the Colorado Avalanche on Friday, and of course, you can listen to that one right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 7. Puck drop is at 8. We have What's Trending coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Here's what's trending.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, it's no secret that I love playing MLB The Show, and we have our new cover athletes for MLB The Show 25. That is Paul Skeens, Ellie De La Cruz, and Gunnar Henderson. There's 3 guys on the cover for Major League Baseball. I think this is a good thing to promote the youth of the game. I have a question for you, though. What do you think will bring in more fans and get them more interested in Major League Baseball? Is it having a villain in the Dodgers, and we've discussed that multiple times here on the show, or do you think it's promoting the young talent within the game?
Villain.
I mean, definitely a villain.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thrown off that, you know, they didn't have any of my Dodgers on there. You know, you win the World Series, and so what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Type of business. Yeah, Shohei, he's a pretty good player.
Oh, he was on it a couple years ago.
Mookie's a great player as well. Yeah, Freddie Freeman. I mean, the list can go on.
Will Smith.
We could be here all day.
Sure.
Hey, Tommy Edman had what ALs. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Hey, you know, have a
Take
Dodger.
Oscar Hernandez.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Damn it. What are you doing here? Disappointed. But, yeah.
That was a villain.
Yeah. You want people to buy the game, and then what happens when you have a villain on the cover? What happens? They break the game, then they got to buy another one. See how that works? When you have rage, oh, dude, you're
Carey, you can buy the game digitally, though, so you can't really break it, you know? I mean, you can buy the disc, of course.
You buy the disc and you break it, and then you buy another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a problem with my family, my cousins.
Yeah. You guys used to break the video games?
I had one that was just a madman. Get very upset when you lost. Ruin the game.
I feel like we all had somebody in the family group or the friend group that would hit the reset button when they were losing.
Oh, yeah. Stomp on the floor, do something.
That's what Tom Brady did.
Yeah.
Like right. I mean, you got to fetch a beating after that, right?
There's plenty of fights that take place after someone breaks a game.
You can't hit a reset.
Yeah, let's fight now.
Midway through.
Yeah.
Like
You're going to take a loss one way or the other.
Right. You're going to take the L. You want it to be digitally or in real life?
Yeah.
No, I think it's definitely the villain. I've said this for 10 years now, man. You need a hero, you need a villain. If you go to, your various streaming networks and you're going to watch a movie, you're going to watch a TV show, whether it's action, drama, comedy, you want somebody to root for, you want somebody to root against. And I don't know if that'll ever change. And I think that's what it's like in sports. Carey's right. There's going to be plenty of people that are just going to hate watch the Dodgers this year.
Yep.
Now, it'll all be moot because
they're going to go 162.
we already know the outcome.
Yeah. They're the best team ever.
Yeah. Need the villain.
So you don't think it's the young guys at all?
No.
You're not excited to see some of these young players blossom in Major League Baseball?
Oh, yeah, I am. But you're asking me compared to a villain, like what's going to draw more people in?
Yeah.
It's going to be the villain.
Is it more? I was going to say, is it problematic for you that there are 2 players from the National League Central on there?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
Hey, next year.
Well, one of them plays on a team that doesn't try.
Yeah,
the other one
tries.
plays on a team that might try, but their owner doesn't care.
They got a new coach. They got a new manager.
Yeah, so that's why that gives me a little bit of pause.
I think the Reds are going to be decent this year.
I think they'll be decent. I think
they got some good young talent. I like that pitching staff.
So I know that you say it's a villain. Carey, you say Major League Baseball needs a villain. I'm talking about from a young fan's perspective. The young fan.
What is going to capture your emotion? Like, you're young.
I'm talking about kids, like the kids that are growing up and maybe they're deciding, like, do I like baseball?
All right, how young though?
Like 12 to high school.
That range is more the youth, I would say. I don't know, though. Once I get into high school, I remember hating teams in high school. I think grade level.
I didn't have a team I hated. I actually.
No?
No.
Hold on.
I didn't have a team. I was
The
heartbroken. Oh, no. I'm thinking baseball just alone. I hated the Pistons.
Okay,
What about
there
the
you
Cubs? Or is that like just
Nobody
a de
cared
facto?
about the Cubs. That's fair. They were terrible. They didn't worry about the Cubs. I didn't like I did like the Braves, though. I just didn't like that they came back when we were up 3-1. Like, I liked them. I loved Greg Maddux is one of my favorite pitchers of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the Braves.
I think
Didn't
that.
like 'em.
I think when you have, like, my kids are all 8 and under. Like, Killian's 6. He may say, I don't like a team, but he has no idea why. He more is, he likes players. He likes certain players. Like, he likes watching Saquon Barkley. He's not an Eagles fan, but, he's drawn to the players that are exciting. So I think when you're real young, Marsh, you've got a good point here. I mean, I grew up a Giants fan because Will Clark I was like, this is unbelievable. I've never seen a left-handed swing like this. Deion Sanders. This is an unbelievable player.
And now you're stuck.
And now I'm stuck, tortured, but not in January.
Or
in
February.
Oh, gosh.
But when it comes to when you get a little bit older and you're drawn into certain things, I think you get more emotion when you're drawn into hating a team. I hate the Dodgers.
I think watching like Paul Skeens and Ellie De La Cruz can bring you joy and excitement.
It's fun.
Like, Ellie is like, he's on third base as soon as he hits the ball. He's like, how did he do that? He's just
Typically,
fast
Cardinals pitchers weren't holding him on. Then you get the airmail into center field.
I was thinking
Is that
more
what you're
from,
asking,
well, I was
or?
thinking more from when he was at the plate and he's playing any other team. Like he
Just gets on first. Not a great job holding on the runner. Airmail into center. De La Cruz is on third against Cardinals. That's typically how that happens.
2 pitches into the next at bat.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. All right, that's what's trending here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. How did we get here? Chiefs and Eagles. When you look at these two teams, aside from the obvious, which of course is Patrick Mahomes and Saquon Barkley, the top players playing their best in key moments, what areas did these two teams improve on or excel during the regular season and the playoffs? I think there's 2 commonalities here with the Eagles and Chiefs. There's others, but I think there's one obvious one. That's next on 101 ESPN. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter. The Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl 2 Sundays from now. Aside from the obvious, what areas did these two teams improve on or excel in during the regular season and the playoffs? Basically, how did we get here? I think there's one common trait that the two teams share that is just kind of tried and true when you think of the NFL and whether or not a team can make a run, aside from the quarterbacks. Defenses travel. Chiefs were 4th in points against. They allowed just under 20 points at 19.2 points per game. And the Eagles had the best defense in the NFC and the second best defense from a points against standpoint at 17.8. These are two of the better defensive teams in the league. And they're honestly, could you pick out, I don't know, even 5 excellent defenses this year?
In the league?
Yeah.
Nah, probably not. Like
Denver. Denver had a good defense, but I felt like toward the end of the year they started to they started to hemorrhage points.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston kind of broke them.
He did. I don't think. I think Minnesota's defense for a majority of the year was really good defense.
They had a stretch.
They were doing well. Baltimore's defense got better as the year went on. Like after week 10 or 11, they started playing at a really high level. They were like number 1 in most categories.
Buffalo's defense was okay.
Pittsburgh had a pretty good defense.
Early on was excellent. I felt like they got worse.
Yeah. But there was no really elite defense that makes you say, oh, wow, that's the team you need to watch on that side of the ball. And I think Philadelphia, for me, is that team. Up front, their front 7 did a great job all season long. Jalen Carter is an animal.
Wow.
Like, he's a special player. And then we talked about what they did on the back end in the draft and just getting those guys that they have. So I think they are the team right now, in my opinion, that is when you think about the defense of the year or one of the best defenses of the year, Philadelphia is that team.
All right, so what other areas do you think that these two teams have improved or excelled either in the offseason or during the year? The obvious one was Saquon Barkley. So let's just
we can move on from that.
You know, but the other offseason move the other big offseason move that the Eagles made, and it coincides with what we just talked about, was hiring Vic Fangio. The Miami Dolphins players were reportedly grumbling last year because Vic Fangio was he was too hard on them in the offseason training. The practices were too tough. And then Vic Fangio wound up getting out of Miami and going to Philadelphia. And it was rough early on. I remember talking in the first couple of weeks that this Eagles defense looked rough.
Yeah.
But then they started to play some of the younger players. Vic Fangio's, they started to understand what Vic Fangio wanted them to do, as a unit wanted them to do. And then they became one of the best defenses in the league. Cooper DeJean didn't play right away, but he wound up being a huge asset. And I think the Eagles, top to bottom, that's the best roster in football.
I agree. I think they are. I think they have. I think you ask what have they done better from last season to this season. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Like we talk about him a lot, and I think people talk about him in a negative way. He had 3,800 yards passing last year. He played in 17 games. He played all 17. This year he only played 15. He had 2,900 yards passing. So you figure if he plays those 2 extra games, he's over 3,000. But his interceptions are down drastically. He threw 15 interceptions last year. He only threw 5 this year. He has a higher average per pass. He has a higher completion percentage than he did last year. And he has a higher completion percentage than he did the year he was second in MVP voting. It's the number of turnovers that shifted from last year to this year. He's taking care of the football. It's a lot easier when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. You don't have to be Superman. And I said that watching Josh Allen, when he puts on his cape, they're going to lose. Because if he feels like he has to make the first couple of who are you throwing the ball to, man? What are you doing?
His first 2 throws could have easily been picked.
What are you doing? So Jalen Hurts does not feel like he needs to be Superman. He's got Superman next to him. He can hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley and all things will be right. And then when the opportunity presents itself for him to make a big play, he's going to make it.
Do you also think it's an offensive coordinator thing, too? Because this is now his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. Yep. And I thought his performance last week looked a lot like what we saw the year that they went to the Super Bowl and then lost to the Chiefs. He made a case that he could have been the Super Bowl MVP. If they were to win that game.
He was almost flawless in that game.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think the drop-off last year at the tail end of the season was just mind-boggling because of what we saw the year before. But maybe it is an offensive coordinator thing where now you have Kellen Moore. And as the year progressed, things just maybe he started to get a little bit more comfortable. Like, what do you think that is? Do you think that has a huge factor?
Yeah,
plays a huge factor into it?
I think he's more comfortable. Last year, they started off the season really well. And then they lost, 6 of their last 7 games going into the playoffs.
They did, but a lot of their wins did not look pretty.
They weren't pretty, but I just think it's a lot easier when you're not feeling like you have to be the guy or the answer or every single time you have to make, because then you start pressing. Like I said, Josh Allen is a perfect example. When he feels like he has to be the one to make a play, he's going to throw the ball into harm's way sometimes. And that, or carry it loosely and put the ball on the ground, which we saw a few times in that AFC Championship game. That's, to me, is the difference for Jalen Hurts this year from last year. Just not a need or a want to be the hero of the game. If you need me to make a play, I'll make it. He's very calm, cool, and collected. He's not, overzealous or over the top. He understands that he got guys next to him. And the one thing I was thinking about this the other day, when they had what's going on with you and A.J. Brown, and A.J. was like passing. He said that a month ago. And the next game, Jalen Hurts came out and said, "Are y'all happy now? Like, is this what y'all wanted?" Like, if we need to do this, we can. I don't care about that. I want to win. Saquon Barkley is the best player on our team right now. Damn it, he's getting the ball, and it ain't about me. And I think that to me is a hell of a mindset for a star quarterback to have. You just want to win championships however you can get it.
Yeah. Well, they did a lot of winning this season, that's for sure. It's gonna be, I think, a back and forth Super Bowl. I think it's gonna be close. I really do. You got 2 talented teams. Obviously, the Chiefs kind of speak for themselves and what they do. So it'll be interesting next week in New Orleans to see what happens here in this rematch of the Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Are the Blues nearing Cardinals territory with their question marks? We'll explain why they might be. That's next on 101 ESPN. Blues nearing the Cardinals territory when it comes to question marks about the roster. It's the Fastlane on 101 ESPN 304. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Anthony Stalter. Our guy Jamie out today. You could tell he was getting sick during the game last night. Didn't sound great, and texted us this morning and said he was out, so we wish Jamie well, and hopefully he's back with us tomorrow. I want to play this first before we dive into kind of the Cardinals and Blues question. Here's Doug Armstrong on what's missing with this team or this roster.
Well, I think there's been a belief in a core group of guys here, and as we're trying to retool, we're leaning heavily on a group of guys. And as I said, we brought in different coaches. And again, the Monty coaching thing wasn't a reflection on Drew. It was more the ability to get someone of Monty's caliber. So, but the record book's going to look, you're right, 3 coaches. But I don't know. It's something, you know, I hear what they say after games. I hear what they say to you guys about their own play. And, you know, obviously I can't really disagree with them. You know, they're like last year, I thought, you know, Buchnevich and Thomas had good years, statistically had good years, and Shen didn't have a good year, and, you know, this year it's reverse. You know, I think Shen's played very well since Monty's been here. We haven't had collectively our top 6 guys pull the rope in the same direction to allow the support group to really have an impact on our team. And I think that's what you see, and at least that's what I see right now. It's just our inability for our top end players to put long stretches of play together, you know, where you have 5 of your 6 top forwards and, you know, 4 of your top 5 D playing good for not days at a time or weeks at a time, but a month at a time or 6 weeks at a time. That's how you go on runs. You don't, you know, so, you know, it's well documented that we haven't gone on a run yet this year. And a little bit concerning for our group is that last year with Drew, we went on a nice run, and then we got right into the playoffs, and instead of getting excited, I think we lost 5 or 6 out of 7 with Nashville, and then it took us right out of it. This year, coming out of the Christmas break, we looked at our schedule. We saw teams that we felt we needed to get wins against, not just compete, but get wins against. And now we're in January, and we're back in the same spot. We had an opportunity to gain ground, and we lost ground, and that's doing soul searching for all of us.
All right, so Marsh, you had posed the question: are the Blues nearing Cardinals territory when it comes to question marks about the roster? Mm-hmm. The Cards continue to leave us wondering, you know, what's going on with the roster. Mm-hmm. Are we starting to have the same type of questions about the Blues in regards to the roster, and are the Blues far along in the retool process as we initially thought? I actually want to start with the third question first. Mm. Are the Blues as far along in the retool process as we initially thought? No. And I don't know if Doug Armstrong thought that either. I think it's been an evolution of watching this team. And then eventually you come to the point, some quicker than others, that you say, no, this team is not as far along in this retool as we thought they were going to be at the start of the year. Some of that is situational. You change coaches not even midway through. You change coaches. So that's something. But when it comes to the overall roster and the direction of this franchise, are there similarities between the Blues and Cardinals? Yes. Mm-hmm. I would say, though, I feel as though there are less questions about the Blues than the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And I think there's various reasons. We can kind of peel back the onion as we go on here, but I'll shut up. And, Marsh, I'm going to ask you the same question that you posed to us. Do you think that these two teams now are on similar paths from a lack of direction?
I think when I look at this, the two things, at least right now, and things can change, there's still time left in the season. You know, the Blues, for whatever reason, they could come out of the Four Nations break and go on an absolute heater and make the playoffs, and we'll look back at this and laugh about it. But one of the big things with the Cardinals, maybe not so much now, but the previous few seasons, was why are your top players not performing? And if they're not going to perform, your team is not going to go anywhere. Mm. We saw that with Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. They had down years last year. And what Armstrong said, you know, those top guys are not essentially giving the supplemental players not the ability to succeed. Like they can do it on their they can't do it on their own, but they can find success. But ultimately, it's not going to be team success if your top guys aren't playing the way they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. So I look at both of these teams, and I'm seeing similar things. The top guys for the Cardinals did not produce, and look where it landed them, out of the playoffs. And right now, the same thing is happening with the Blues. Their top guys, there's some that are producing. Colton Parayko, he's having a fantastic year. I think Jordan Kyrou is having a good bounce-back year from what fans thought that he was having last year. Mm-hmm. But the two guys that we've been highlighting, Buchnevich and Robert Thomas, I don't know if they're meeting expectations this season as a whole.
Carey.
Jamie, Anthony, me, all of us. But those are the similarities that I'm seeing out of these two teams. The top guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and that's why you're in this position.
Well, that's definitely it. I mean, when you have star players, they have to be stars, or your stars, your star players.
St. Louis Stars.
Yep, the St. Louis Stars. The people that are getting paid the most money have to perform as if they're being paid the most money, because otherwise you would be paying the other people that amount of money, mm-hmm. and you would be able to disperse that money equally to other parts. And so when your top players aren't reaching the levels that you need them to, your supportive players mm-hmm. are there in support. They can have a night or two, or every now and then they can be the star of the game. But your stars have to be those players that show up nightly, and that's not happening right now. And I wanted to kind of go over this text, but it was kind of I misunderstood a little bit. But they said they disagree. They think the Blues are further along in their retool, but the star players just haven't done their part. Like, I think the addition of Dylan Holloway, I think the addition of Philip Broberg, like those additions, you're like, holy crap, this is.
Well, they might be further along than the Cardinals, but in my opinion, I thought this was a playoff team coming in.
Well,
so
that's
me,
your fault, Anthony.
That's why I said me.
Oh, well, why would you think that? They haven't been to the playoffs in years.
I thought they were on the right track. I did.
You thought so? I didn't think so.
Well, that's the evolution of a retool, though, right? Like, you missed the playoffs by a few points. Your expectations are this
Correct.
team who missed the playoffs last year by a few points should now take that next step to make the playoffs. Even if it's a second wild card,
right.
You brought in some guys who played in the Stanley Cup last year. They're young guys, and to me, I think they've been great. Mm-hmm. They've been fine. Like, they've done what you expected them to do, and with Dylan Holloway, even more.
Yeah.
Right? And so you expected the core players to take that next step. And in my opinion, they have not up until this point this season.
Well, that is where the comparisons, I think, do start with Cardinals and the Blues. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Both teams are average. Mm-hmm. And this is what average teams do to the fan base. So last time I was watching the game, Chris, my wife, was getting texts from coworkers complaining about, the Blues. And she kind of looked at me. She goes, "Are the Blues that bad this year?" I go, "Well, they're not great." And then I stopped myself. I said, "They're average." This is what happens when you're an average team. You get flashes from players or the team collectively, and you think, "Hey, you know what? They're a little better than I thought." And then they go on a run like the Blues are right now, where they could have dropped 5 straight had they lost the shootout to the Golden Knights. And you think, terrible, awful, brutal. Next week they go on a little bit of run. You're like, hey, you know what? This is what average teams do. Cardinals, same thing. This is why Carey jumped off the roller coaster.
That's
Cardinals,
exactly why.
And Ryan says Cardinals are far from average. Okay, below average, whatever. They're not terrible.
They're not
80.
Technically, they were
literally the definition
damn
of
near average last year.
What?
Yeah. So this is the push and pull that happens. But Marsh, I think what you said about the main players, mm-hmm. Army mentioned it. When your main guys aren't producing like they should, it doesn't allow the secondary players to do what they do best. Mm-hmm. There's this. It winds up being this conveyor belt where you're putting more onus on certain parts of the conveyor belt to handle what the previous guys couldn't do. Your top guys need to act like top guys. Then everything can fill into place. If your top dogs aren't performing to their capability, it really doesn't matter what the bottom of the roster is doing. At that point, now we're just nitpicking.
And if they're not leading the team in the right direction, too,
right,
that also plays a factor.
It goes back. I've used this before. Carey, it's like when we used to cover the Rams.
Oh, gosh.
People used to complain about like the fifth wide receiver. Why, dude, if we're complaining about the fifth roster, we get with fifth, wide receiver. We're either in a great spot or a terrible spot.
That's what Alex said today. If you're complaining about Alexei Toropchenko and his production compared to what it was last year, like you are looking at the wrong thing right now.
Yeah. So I think there are many similarities. I think the one biggest one is, though, when you're tethered to 500, this is what you get. You get a lack of understanding for the direction of the team. Some spots look good, others don't, and you wind up just feeling lost.
So you're not entertained.
But you do know that you're not good enough.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Everybody feel okay?
No. I even said it in the office. I said all of our teams.
Yeah. Your team's not good enough.
All of our teams. The Steelers, the Vikings. Now, they made the playoffs, and so did the Steelers, but they
Yeah, you guys got two playoff teams. Come on.
Not good in those games, Anthony, and you know it. All of us have teams that are just lackluster right now, except for you in the months of January and February.
I don't give him that.
Why?
And I'll even throw March and April in there with UConn.
Thank you.
It doesn't count.
Huskies. What do you mean it doesn't count, Mr. Dodger?
I did that at the same time as you did.
The same.
When they had a chance to win the championship.
Yeah.
You're right.
The same exact time.
But I'm still here.
No, see, that's what I don't like. This is what I don't like.
I'm still here.
Carey, I would almost like it if you were to just choose the Dodgers every October. I don't need to hear about it for the other 11 months of the year.
You're welcome. I go back to being a sad
and that's
Falcon
why I appreciate that out of you, Anthony.
I just have two teams now. I'm a Dodgers fan and I'm a Cardinals fan. And when the Cardinals play the Dodgers, I win.
No.
At least pick an American League team. Like, pick an American League team.
Take the White Sox.
Hey, speaking of the White Sox, have you seen their...
I like their unis.
Have you seen their giveaways
nice.
this year? I know we talk about like bobbleheads and fireworks and giveaways and stuff. Have you seen their giveaways this year?
The White Sox giveaways? No.
They're awesome.
They're
just so cool.
Do you just go and look at all the teams' giveaways?
I just scour the internet, Anthony, and some stuff just pops up.
You know, Marsh, I'm really starting to appreciate certain things that you're into. Like, you're really into logo designs and uniforms.
yeah.
Like, you're passionate about it. Like, it's almost like a side.
Yeah.
You know,
new Super Bowl logo just came out, by the way. It's blue themed.
Okay.
So we're probably going to get a Bills-Lions Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
So remember this.
But the other thing I think you really get into is like giveaways and stuff. Like you go down the rabbit hole. And I think it's kind of fun.
I'll show you in the break. They're pretty cool looking.
All right, fair enough.
Makes you want to go to the South Side.
NFL 4 Downs next on 101 ESPN. Is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Time for NFL 4 Downs with Carey Davis, Super Bowl champion, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Fire away.
First down.
Did you guys happen to see the Jerry Jones press conference to announce Brian Schottenheimer?
I skimmed
Listen to anything.
The real one or the fake one?
The real one, yeah, not the AI version.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No.
Here's one quote from Jerry. I know I get my proverbial blank kicked in over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable, Jones said. This is a big risk you can take. As big a risk as you can take. No head coaching experience. Did he just sewer his own hire in Brian Schottenheimer and just the first, like the opening take?
That's kind of weird. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where, man, it's your money. You do with it what you want.
Right.
Like, I don't.
Terrible hire, but
you do with it what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when people have money to spend, it's not my job to police how they choose to spend their money. Now, the Cowboys are probably going to lose more games again, not win the division, probably finish, well,
third. They'll finish third.
Yeah, the Giants are still in the division. Finish third in the division with no opportunity to make the playoff.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, he did say, he says, let me share something with you with all of that.
Let me show you something.
You just heard
Fire Marshall Bell. Even I know who that is.
Good job,
That's pretty good.
In living color,
I was about to say, what?
Good
You
job.
got to say the show now. That started Jim Carrey's career right there. It wasn't Ace Ventura. It was in living color,
it was in
man.
living color.
The Wayans brothers are so damn funny.
They are amazing.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Even their kids now are funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's your favorite Wayans?
Damon.
Yeah, me too.
It's Damon.
Damon Wayans is the funniest damn dude.
I love Damon. He is hilarious to me.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let me tell you something. Well, all that, you just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road, especially if there was an effort to make it that way, and there was an effort. Talking about his dad, Marty Schottenheimer. How often do you have a chance to take advantage of all of that at 50 years old, which is a puppy, yet he's had 25 years being around the kinds of things he's going to draw from. I like his package. I like that experience.
Good thing Jamie's not here.
That's what Jerry Jones said. So he hired Brian Schottenheimer for his package.
Listen, if you like it, Jerry, I love it, man. I wish you the best. I don't know. There's a conversation that people don't want to coach in Dallas because the owner is the coach. He's the general manager. He's the head coach. He's the president. He's the owner. He's all of those things, and he's the star, like the star of the team, of the organization.
Which already has a star.
I mean, they do. It's their logo, but it should just be his face. Like, they should remove the star in the middle of the field and make it Jerry, because Jerry is the star.
Yeah.
And if you want to win, most coaches that have had experience are like, yeah, that's probably not the best place for me. And so what do? You get a coach that hasn't had head coaching experience, because who the hell's going to turn it down if you've never been a head coach, right? Unless you're Byron Leftwich or Liam Cohen, and then you decide, no, I do want to. No, I don't. And then I do. And then you say Duval in a weird way. That was so weird.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Big time.
That was bad.
That was strange.
Why
did you say it that way?
That was bad. But
Both guys, both press conferences made Aaron Glenn like, I'm like, yeah, I'll play for you, Aaron. I'm ready to run through a wall.
And he's coaching the Jets now.
Yeah.
I'm more fired up if I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah.
That just based on the press conference, or the Raiders, because you knew Pete was going to come with it. All right.
Second down.
At least the Cowboys do have a head coach, right? What are the Saints waiting for? Do you think it's Kellen Moore?
Have they not hired a coach yet?
No.
Oh, I forgot. Nobody thinks about the
We can say
Saints.
what we want about the Cowboys, and and rightfully so, but
Maybe they're waiting on Spags.
interesting.
Maybe they're waiting. I mean, if they haven't hired anyone, they're probably waiting on somebody in this championship
I
game.
would think so.
Yeah. You don't think Fangio is a candidate?
I don't think so.
Well, it's probably either Spags or it's
Kellen Moore.
Probably more Spags than Kellen Moore.
Do you think so?
Probably.
I mean, I would rather have Spags than Kellen Moore. I know, but good luck either way.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck to those guys.
Unless it's McCarthy.
Oh.
Nah.
But if it was McCarthy, you figure
He'd
he'd
been
hire
done by
him
now.
right?
Who else is available?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Nah, who knows?
I'm trying to think of who they talked to off the top of my head. Anthony Weaver, who's a coordinator a couple years ago.
It's probably Spags. If they haven't hired anyone yet, which I completely forgot about the Saints, because who thinks about the Saints since Drew Brees left? Why?
Well, because his team loses to him every year.
He does
Hey.
think about them. Yeah.
We split every year.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's probably Steve Spagnuolo.
What the hell, man?
That was
my
a shot.
bad.
I told you, every now and then he does it.
loses to it
It's
every
his
year.
way. It's his way. Just every now and then.
Yeah.
When he gets tired of our crap, he just and then he automatically, I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything. I ain't mad about it.
Anyways, all right.
Third down.
Did you guys hear Chris Canty today?
I did not.
Not unsportsmanlike.
What did he say?
Nothing great.
Said Joe Burrow isn't elite. And his main point was what franchise quarterback, what elite quarterback goes through an entire season and staying healthy and not make the playoffs. He repeated it twice. That was basically his main thing.
That's the football is not an individual sport, man.
It's just like
it ain't
tennis.
It's
singles
not.
or golf.
Joe Burrow
It's exactly
ain't
like
played
bowling.
safety or corner one day this year. I'm certain. Haven't seen him lined up in the secondary.
Nah.
I haven't seen it. It's not an individual sport. Joe Burrow, if he were on any other team that defense played well, maybe didn't start out as slow as they did, he's probably the NFL MVP.
Yeah.
If he makes it as a 7th place team into the wild card, he's the NFL MVP.
Mm-hmm.
That's an asinine take. That's madness.
Yeah, I don't get that one either at all. And then he went on to say, because Michelle Smallman, our girl Michelle Smallman, said, well, the defense, there's another side of the ball. And Chris Canty said, yeah, and they spent all that money on offense to make sure that the offense was good. The offense was good.
Exactly.
That's
You're
the
making the
problem. They
point.
spent all the money on offense. They lost all their key defenders outside of Trey Hendrickson. They invested everything into the offense.
Well,
and it was great.
They didn't invest everything. Because that offensive line leaves
Yeah,
them.
true.
Like, Joe, good luck today.
Very true.
Yeah.
Nope.
Fourth down.
Real quick, Ellipsis 150. Why would anybody want Spags? Didn't he see the dumpster fire there was in the head coach the first time?
I'm with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. There have been head coaches that have not had a great tenure in a spot that have been fired to go on to win 7 Super Bowls.
Don't do that.
With the
6.
next one.
He won 6.
6 Super Bowls with his next team.
It's not the same.
Nope.
Nah.
Okay.
Not close.
All right. So he's fired the first time.
Yeah, he probably deserved it.
Gets hired the second time. Wins 6. No?
He's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVPs are out. Who's the fun long shot? All right, so Saquon Barkley and Patrick Mahomes was the obvious ones, right?
Okay.
Let me give you guys the odds?
Sure.
Because you haven't looked at them. I can see your face.
I have not.
No. Jeez.
I like it to be a surprise, Anthony. When you tell me things, I like to be in shock and awe.
I
Like our
have
listeners.
I have a name in mind.
Okay.
I have a name in mind.
Do you want me to tell you the odds, or do you want to tell me and then I'll give you the odds?
I'm going to tell you, you give me the odds.
All right, go for it.
This is a guy that was on this team before, and then some stuff happened and was not on the team. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt.
What are the odds?
3 touchdowns.
50-1. So that would be a long shot.
touchdowns?
Mahomes is basically even money. Saquon is plus 275. Jalen Hurts is plus 360. Then you get into some of the mid-range
AJ Brown?
shots. 30-1.
I'd probably go there.
Okay,
That's a good one.
I'm going to be in, I'm probably going to go there.
It is funny though, like when you think of in a Super Bowl MVP. Oh, AJ Brown has a huge game. How does AJ Brown have a huge game?
He catches a lot of
Jalen
passes.
Hurts, right?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He catches a lot of short passes and runs very far.
Yeah.
But again, Jalen Hurts has those yards, unless we're dialing it down to yards after catch, which you could.
That's a good point.
But typically the Super Bowl MVP is the quarterback.
I played on a team where the wide receiver won the MVP.
Santonio Holmes.
He did.
It's a pretty important catch.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he had like 9 of them that game.
It's fair. Give me Chris Jones 60-1.
Oh,
I like that one too. When has a defensive player ever won it?
Von Miller won Super Bowl 50 MVP.
Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm
won.
Butler.
No, Malcolm Smith, the Seahawks. Linebacker of the pick six.
He did. And Dexter Jackson did win one.
Dexter Jackson, the Bucks Raiders won.
I think Larry Smith won.
Larry Brown.
What is Larry Smith? Larry Smith is the Mizzou Tigers football. Go Tigers.
Larry Brown of the Cowboys against
the Cowboys.
your Steelers.
Yeah.
Not your Steelers, but
I
the
wasn't there.
Steelers.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Final thoughts here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Oh, this is so. Marsh has been like teasing this next segment since the pre-show meeting. Is it pride, cheapness, or incompetence? Now, that's all he gave us. So I have no idea what this is. Marshall will explain next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues lose to the Vancouver Canucks last night by a final score of 5-2. They also placed Brandon Saad on waivers today. Doug Armstrong met with the media after practice. We talked a little bit about what he had to say earlier in the show. If you missed any of that, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. Speaking of interviews, we'll talk with Joe Vitale at 5 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. Also, the Blues will take on the Colorado Avalanche on Friday. Pregame starts at 7. Puck drop is at 8. Well, Anthony teased it before the break. Is it pride, cheapness, or incompetence from these historical franchises? We'll discuss which historical franchises they are next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, you heard Marsh tease it yet again. Is it pride, cheapness, or incompetence? Marsh, you had kind of thrown Carey and I for a loop in the pre-show meeting. We're like, hey, what is this segment? And you looked at us and you're like, you'll find out.
Yes.
You'll find out. All right, so what do we got? Set it up.
All right, so came across a post on X today from Brooke Pryor, who covers a certain NFL team. I will not release who that is just yet, but this is what the post had to say, and I'm going to have you guys, I know we like to play games here in the Fast Lane, so I'm going to have you guys try and guess which NFL team that this particular person is talking about. Of the possible changes to help the team get over the hump, insert owner says increasing the size of the insert team's coaching staff, one of the smallest in the league, is not on the table. End quote. I just don't see that holding us back. I don't think that's our problem. So before we get into this, which NFL team do you believe that to be?
So
small coaching staff?
Small coaching staff.
I think I know the answer because I know who Brooke Pryor writes for.
Oh, no.
I know who she writes for. So I'll stay out.
Is it Pittsburgh?
It is the Steelers.
Wow. Is it the Steelers?
It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so how did I come across this this post on X? Well, it's because our own Brandon Kiley quoted it and said, this is literally the Cardinals.
I've said that years and years. I've been saying that for years.
We have obviously...
Why didn't you say it on air?
You know,
I have said the Steelers and the Cardinals are the same.
Guys, I'm kidding.
we have made the comparisons before just from like, kind of always in the middle, like a little bit, here and there, they make the playoffs, but they're never bad enough to like actually get the talent, like the superstar talent that the team probably needs.
Sure.
But I found this to be interesting from a coaching staff standpoint because we talked about it before that the Cardinals have had, for a while, like they're at the bottom of the league when it comes to employing certain coaches.
The minor league staff, yeah.
Well, yeah, like in their franchise.
Right.
And having the resources, compared to some of the better teams in the league. I found this to be interesting.
So should we circle one of the three here?
Yeah, which one do you think it is? Is it pride, where like you see Art Rooney, the second, say, I just don't see that holding us back. I don't think that's our problem.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm going to say...
I'm not going to say what you guys all think I'm going to say.
I'm going to do what you think I'm going to do.
Yeah. Or what I think what a lot of Cardinals fans. So again, the three options: pride, cheapness, or incompetence. I think there's one here that it's either the majority of the Cardinals fans would pick or the loud majority would pick. I wouldn't choose this word, though. And I think a lot of people would say cheapness.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh, I don't think it's cheapness.
What about the Cardinals?
Oh, cheapness for the Cardinals, for sure.
See, I think it's more pride.
Nah, I don't think it's pride. I think if it's
go ahead.
If it's the Cardinals, it's definitely, why would we spend money on that? What the hell are you doing? Just figure it out, buddy. Hey, we got things to do. We can win without spending more money.
Right.
They come to me for more money all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like your kids when they always, hey, you got money? Didn't I give you money already? Did you spend it wisely? It sounds like a you problem.
No, sir, I didn't.
That's on you. I gave you all the money I have.
No, I'm 10.
I'm not going to save, mister. I think it's more pride or incompetence. I actually don't think the Cardinals are cheap. They're cheap comparatively speaking. They're cheap if we want to talk about them compared to the Dodgers. They're cheap if we want to compare them to Mets, the Phillies, the top spinners in the league. Yeah, then they're cheap. But I actually think it's more pride. I think that this front office, including the ownership, thought to themselves, you know what, we're good. We set the industry standard in the 2000s. We're good. No, you had Albert Pujols, Dave Duncan, and Tony La Russa.
Mm-hmm. That helps.
And Yachty.
And Yachty. Yeah. That's what you had. Now he said, well, listen, we do it better than anybody else. And they kept believing that for a decade plus until finally they go, oh, geez, we're behind the times. That to me is pride. That's ego. That's not necessarily being cheap or, at best frugal. Mm-hmm. I do think there's some incompetence here too. The inability to understand or scout or evaluate what's in your own damn system, that has been a problem now for a while. So I would actually go pride, ego, stubbornness, like that under that umbrella, incompetence, and then cheapness. I don't think they've necessarily been cheap.
So I would disagree because I don't think it's incompetence. I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
But
that's even worse.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's cheapness.
Well, there's some evil there, though.
Hell yeah, I know what you need. Figure it out. You saw that documentary where they had to, the owner didn't want to give them a new heating tub and a new whirlpool and
new plane.
They were riding buses to games, and the team rallied around each other and they figured out, we just got to win the whole damn thing. There are owners that say, hey, figure it out. And that's what I think. I don't think that. You know how you
are you comparing the DeWitts to that ownership group that wanted to move the team to Miami?
What happened? I don't think they want to move to Miami. I just don't think they don't know what the hell's going on. You don't become a billionaire by being incompetent.
But you do run a baseball team into the ground if you're incompetent.
Is it running it into the ground?
Boy,
because
2 years ago were awful.
How can it be ran into the ground when it's worth way more than it was when you bought it?
But I'm saying the baseball team. I'm not talking about
we're talking
the value
two different
of the
things.
organization.
We're talking business.
But the value of the organization is always going to go up.
Business versus
the damn A's are worth, whatever they're worth.
Yeah. But that's the business side of it. So it's not incompetent. It's intentional.
But okay. Are we saying the same thing now?
No.
Okay.
You said it's incompetence, meaning they don't know what they're doing. That's
from a baseball standpoint, I don't think they know what they're doing.
I think they do. I think they care more about what the business side, how it impacts the business side, than the baseball side. So with that being said,
wouldn't that be incompetence if you know for a fact that
it's intentional.
Hey, we're just going to be profitable, but you don't know that eventually you're not going to be profitable if you don't put a good product on the field? Wouldn't that be incompetence?
I think not having a minor league system in place that is at the same level as all if not most of the other teams in the league that you're playing in, I think that is incompetent, or it's just ignorant.
Or hubris or pride or ego, or maybe it's everything.
A little bit of both.
All of the above.
Maybe it's all of the above.
Okay.
Maybe we're getting to the point here where it's a slice of everything. What's NY saying here?
I don't know what that means.
CD being a blank for the Steelers is hilarious considering how bad they've been ran the last few years.
How bad have they been?
He meant shill.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? I was looking.
He used a different S word the first time. Shill. Yeah.
How about I've said they haven't. They made it to the playoffs. That ain't good enough. Pittsburgh don't care about making it to the playoffs. They care about championships. It ain't just get in and figure it out. That's not the remedy. That's not the recipe. The recipe is win a damn Lombardi trophy so we can put it in our showcase up here upstairs when people come in. That's the goal.
You should get Mahomes and Reed.
Well, I don't know if that's possible.
But you can't have them.
Yeah,
they're ours.
I don't know if it's possible. Ours. He's a Falcon fan.
I am. Why do you think I hop on the Chiefs bandwagon in January?
Yeah.
All right, we'll play Are You Sold next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service tax line. So if you have an Are You Sold that you want to send us, fantastic. We'll play Are You Sold next in the Fast Lane. Fastline on 101 ESPN. Time to play Are You Sold? Air Comfort Service tax line 314-399-9646 is where you can send in a statement. CD and I will discuss whether or not we're sold on said statement. Marsh, go.
All right, let's start off with the 314. Are you sold that if the Blues miss the playoffs again, there has to be a change to your core of players in the offseason, perhaps a hockey trade?
I think that's where we're at now. I think Doug Armstrong's looking at this roster and has been looking at this roster to say, all right, who can I move? Who do I need to move? Because if we're going to sit here and talk about all the coaching changes, and now we're to the point where everybody's kind of in line that Jim Montgomery is the guy, then who's it? What's the problem? It's the players.
Yeah.
So I think Army has probably been looking at this and saying, okay, we're at the point now where I need to start trading guys that I can.
I think they are. I can hear that. I can listen to that. But I think you run into it. I said I can listen to it. I can hear it. But then you run into an issue of you're trading a player like who? Jordan Carey? He's 26.
No.
You trading a player like Robert Thomas?
Maybe.
He's 25. You trading Buchnevich?
Maybe.
You probably should have did that last year.
Good point.
Like, who are you trading? When you're talking
Justin
about...
Falk.
He's 33. You all think see, this is the problem. He's 30. He'll be 30.
Torrey Krug.
He'll be 33 in March. He's an Aries.
What's his birthday?
March 20th.
We can't trade him.
Nah. But
we will not trade a fellow March birthday.
This is the problem.
Not in the fast lane.
That you all have with me when you say I have an issue with older gentlemen.
That's Jamie.
He thinks I have an issue with older players. I don't have an issue. Just people don't want them. They don't want to trade for them.
It's not true.
Sometimes.
True. It's really true.
Most times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to trade for 29. Booch. They might trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
Probably would have done it last year for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those three guys are going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jake Neighbors is going anywhere. I don't think, Dylan Holloway just got here. He's not going anywhere. I don't think Zach Bulduke is going anywhere. I don't think, who am I missing? Maybe, Braden Shannon's 33 as well. Do you want to trade him? He's the heart of your team. So who's getting traded?
All of them.
All right.
Except for Colton Parayko.
Okay.
Dylan Holloway.
He's staying.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
You didn't let me finish.
Oh,
Broberg. He's staying. Somebody just said in the snake pit that Jordan Kyrou is cancer and it rubs off on other players and stuff like that.
I don't like.
Doesn't do anything else well but score. I would say right church, wrong pew.
And I would say if you allow another man to rub off on you, that's a problem.
Yeah, you can't be letting you shouldn't be letting other dudes rub off on you.
You got to be firm in who you are.
Damn right.
Not allow people to rub off.
Nonsense.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay.
Well said. From Grant Francis Fan Club, are you sold? The clutch factor or lack thereof is undervalued when evaluating pro athletes.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Were you reading something? Yeah, I was reading something too. I'm so sorry, Marsh.
The 618 said, you tried to trade me. My birthday's March 22nd.
It is. We didn't know. You should have led with that.
618.
All the nonsense texts that you send us, you should have just said, Mark, this is my birthday.
It makes sense. He's spiteful.
He's spiteful. He's angry. He's stubborn. He's one of us.
You are welcomed into the fold, brother. You are one of us. I get it. I apologize for all the terrible things that they have said to you.
What?
Yeah, I haven't said anything crazy to him.
And the only thing I haven't said anything bad about the 618.
None of us have.
I've just tried to trade him.
Well, it was a baseball trade.
It was a total baseball trade.
His birthday is March 22nd.
Listen, I'll leave that.
Trade is rescinded.
Yeah.
Now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trade. Well, yeah, it already fell through. Yeah. We never saw that damn raccoon.
Mm-hmm. It was a possum.
Or a possum. Yeah. Either way, some rodent. Never got him. By the way, I just got a text that you allowed Rafe to do something to you on Sunday that we were just talking about. May or may not have been from our boss, Tommy Mattern.
I wasn't. I was there physically, mentally, I was out of there.
Yeah.
It was an
I didn't see
out-of-body experience.
Yep.
I couldn't see what was going on. I
Right.
just felt hands all over me.
Yeah.
Felt like Aaron Rodgers in the darkness.
Other hands all over his body.
Although he was high as a kite, you just had what, like one beer at that point? You weren't even drunk as a skunk yet.
I wasn't. No, I should have had more.
Carey was in the darkness, though.
I was in the darkness.
Yep,
It got very dark when Rafe came around. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
MD 2020. I'm an Aries. Welcome in.
Yeah.
You will not be traded, MD 2020. I didn't know.
Are you guys Aries? Because I'm
Yeah.
a Pisces.
Yes.
Well, we allow you and Jamie
You're March.
to
You're
March. So
Yeah.
But Aries is
Aries is, I believe, the god of war.
yep.
Aries is the god of war.
It's the first sign too.
First sign.
Yeah.
Ram. Mm-hmm. It's a nasty sign, but one that you really want to be around a lot.
Okay.
We're difficult, stubborn, fiery,
Passionate. Yeah.
handsome.
Yeah.
You know, those things.
All that.
Okay, back to the Grand
Super
Francis
275.
Nope,
Also an Aries. Now
Yeah.
he's April, though.
okay. Well, that doesn't make sense.
No, if you're an Aries, we'll hear it.
Are you guys, I thought it. But Pisces
It
comes
ends-
after Aries, as you said, correct?
Correct.
So how could you be an Aries if you're in April?
because it goes
Because
from
it-
like the
Pisces are in
17th.
February, too. My
Pisces are-
wife
Oh, no.
is
So Aries isn't the first sign.
Aries is the
Aries
first sign.
is the first sign.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You got to
But
do
not
some,
from the calendar year. I'm looking at it.
Not
based
from
on-
the calendar year, no,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
from
I'm
like the
confused.
zodiac
Zodiac
crap.
signs.
Yeah.
The Aries is the first sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the Zodiac Killer, he decided to name all this, and it was Aries first.
What was his name?
Zodiac.
The Zodiac Killer.
He didn't have a name, did he? They never found that guy, did they?
Didn't he admit, didn't somebody admit
think
right on
they
his
did.
deathbed or something like
Yeah.
that he was the Zodiac Killer?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm confused.
I don't know
I'm
where
not
we-
into
they
the
can-
signs,
no.
you know? I'm not into that stuff.
I'm not either. I just basically told you what Carey and I are.
Well, I know. I
Like our
thought you were. I thought
personalities.
you collect all those rocks and stuff.
The only rocks I collect are the one my 3-year-old Lincoln brings in because he's obsessed with it. Kristen and I are like, really? Did he really jammed his pockets again with rocks? Million toys in the basement, right? My man likes rocks. Yeah.
All right, should we answer this question
Yeah,
or should we just get to the
sure.
gauntlet?
What is it?
We'll do one more. Okay.
Tyler also.
No,
I'm sorry.
okay.
No, listen. Tyler's also an Aries. Tyler from the Snake Pit.
Ask the question.
No, it's
Martin.
fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Let's go. Real quick.
Go.
Okay. From Grant Francis Fan Club. Are you sold the clutch factor or lack thereof is undervalued when evaluating pro athletes?
Yeah, I don't think you can. Those are moments that are hard to measure unless you're in those clutch moments. Like you have to have gone through a moment and come out and shown that you're capable of doing it. Like Clayton Kershaw is probably a perfect example. He has been in those clutch moments in the playoffs, but hasn't succeeded. But who would have thought going into those moments that he wouldn't succeed, right? He's still a champion, right, Anthony? Still a champ. Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, he's a champ.
Yeah, he's a champ.
Jason says all of a sudden the fast lane became a show of crunchy 40-year-old women. Jason's clearly not an Aries.
Yeah,
I can
you
tell
sound
by
like
his
a hater,
text.
Jason.
Yeah. He's probably cancer or something. Yeah. Zoosh. Hey, I'm a March Pisces.
You and Marshall, Clay.
Yeah.
You, March, and Jamie.
Yeah. I had a great discussion with Zoosh the other day at the Champ
Zoosh
Bash. He
was
was
a good-
telling me all
Zoosh is
about
a good dude.
Kentucky basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoosh is a good guy.
Real good guy.
A lot of good people.
Met the water boy, too. And his son, Andrew. Fantastic people.
Missed the water boy, unfortunately.
He was literally wearing a water boy jersey.
Darn it.
Yeah. Clayton Kershaw's awesome. He's fantastic.
Did you know, Anthony, that him and Matthew Stafford
Went to the same high school.
Yeah.
In Texas.
I didn't know that until I heard for the 100th time that was the case.
You know, speaking of the snake pit, somebody mentioned Dylan Carlson signed with the Orioles yesterday. And then, everybody that popped in to the new people, hey, did you see Dylan Carlson?
Yeah.
And then it became a running thing. It's pretty good. Our snake pit's awesome. All right, the Gauntlet is next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
categories, one challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
.404, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Angel Marsh and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Sheldon. What's up, Sheldon?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going great, man. We appreciate you listening. Thanks for playing today. Fellow Aries, right?
Yep.
Either that or you lied to Marsh. You can be honest now. You're already on. We're not going to kick you off.
We had one gentleman lie about his birthday to get on the show and said it wasn't.
Yeah, so.
Hey, you got to do what it takes, right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I still don't know.
I'm picking up that he's probably not. Yeah. Yep. All right, Sheldon. Would you like to take on CD, Marsh, or me?
I will take on CD today.
Carey Davis. We'll head to the Cone of Silence right now. CD, you've been off for a while. I feel like I've been getting picked on here.
Good luck, Sheldon.
Sheldon, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel, Marshy.
All right, here we go. Sheldon, what are you hoping for?
Honestly, against CD, just not football. But I know how the wheel is, so.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Is it football?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
I'm being dead serious.
He's absolutely serious. Wow. All right, Sheldon. 4 football questions. Each worth 2 points. If you ask for the options, though, those questions become worth 1 point. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, Marsh, send me the code, the launch codes.
Did you want to say code words? Silence?
I was going to say code words. All right, here we go, Sheldon. Last year, when the Chiefs beat the Bills in the playoffs, which player finished with 2 receiving touchdowns in that game? So we're not talking about Sunday. We're talking about last year. Which player finished with 2 receiving touchdowns in that Chiefs-Bills game?
I'll go ahead and take the options. I don't remember.
Was it Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Travis Kelce, or Isaiah Pacheco?
I was going to say Kelce, so we'll go stick with Travis Kelce. Final answer.
All right.
Question number 2. The last time Washington was in the NFC Championship game was after the 1991 season, when they blew out which team 41-10?
Can you repeat that question? I missed the first half, sorry.
Yeah, so the last time Washington was in the NFC Championship game, it was after the 1991 season when they blew out which team 41-10?
Oh, God. I'll need the option.
Options are the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, or the Green Bay Packers.
Let's go with the Packers. Final answer.
Question 3. In that NFC Championship game, the one that we just asked you about, who was Washington's quarterback?
Oh, God. In 1991?
Yeah.
Or I guess it's after in 1991 or after 1991?
It's the 91 season. So 91 season, 92 playoffs. We have to say that because Carey gets really confused.
Fair enough. I will take the options. Hopefully somebody sounds familiar.
Mark Rippon, Joe Theismann, Gus Frerotte.
Yeah, give me Mark Rippon. Final answer.
Question number 4. The last time the Bills were in the Super Bowl, which team beat them?
The last time. I'll take the options on that one as well.
Options are the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Football Giants, or the Washington Redskins.
You said the Cowboys are the first option?
Yes.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys. Final answer.
Alrighty.
All right, we'll bring back Carey now from the Cone of Silence. Sheldon, how you feeling?
Feel all right. I wish I could have taken a shot at any of those, but I needed the options. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Carey is back from the Cone of Silence. He's plugging in his earbuds right now. Hey. Carey, how was the Cone of Silence?
I wasn't silent. It was people hanging out.
A lot of people hanging out in there?
Just a few.
I don't see Ryder.
Oh, Jordan's in there.
And Jordan. I see. Oh, there's Jordan. Okay. Hey. All right, Carey.
Yeah.
Your category today is completely football.
Hey.
Football.
All right.
Marshy?
Pack a lunch.
Okay.
Here we go. Last year, when the Chiefs beat the Bills in the playoffs, which player finished with 2 receiving touchdowns in that game?
Oh, man. I'm so bad with... When the Chiefs beat the Bills. Now, this doesn't mean that it is the Chiefs player that had 2 touchdowns. Give me the options.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Travis Kelce, or Isaiah Pacheco?
That does mean it's a Chiefs player. I feel like it's MVS because I think we were in awe that he actually caught a pass, and let alone to catch 2. You're like, wow. Give me MVS. Final answer.
Question 2, the last time Washington was in the NFC Championship game was after the 1991 season when they blew out which team 41-10?
Detroit Lions. Final answer.
In that NFC Championship game, who was Washington's quarterback?
Mark Rippon. Final answer.
Question number 4, the last time the Bills were in the Super Bowl, which team beat them?
The last time the Bills were in the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Cowboys. Final answer.
Okay. A little quick there, CD. You got to listen to the questions, man.
Oh, come on.
Just saying.
This has kind of been an issue.
It's been a thing, a little quick.
Yeah, at some point, you got to, let's pause. All right, let's see how you did.
I don't like it.
Last year, when the Chiefs beat the Bills in the playoffs, which player finished with 2 receiving touchdowns in that game? Carey, you took the options. You went with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Sheldon, you took the options. You went with Travis Kelce. Correct answer is...
It is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Darn it.
To Sheldon. 1-0. Sheldon over CD. The last time Washington was in the NFC Championship game was after the 1991 season when they blew out which team 41-10. Carey rushed through his answer and said the Detroit Lions. No options. Sheldon took the options and he went with the Green Bay Packers. Correct answer is...
It is the Detroit Lions.
Nice job, Carey. 2-1. In that NFC Championship game, who was Washington's quarterback? Sheldon, you said Mark Rippon. CD, you said Mark Rippon. Correct answer is...
It is Mark Rippon.
But CD did not use the options. Final question. The last time the Bills were in the Super Bowl, which team beat them? Carey, you said the Dallas Cowboys. Sheldon, you said the Dallas Cowboys. Correct answer is...
The Dallas Cowboys.
Carey did not need the options on that one either. Sheldon.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Sorry, Sheldon.
Sheldon, you didn't watch football. The wheel didn't respond well. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. The wheel always knows.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. You got 3 out of 4 correct. So that's good.
That's true.
That's
yeah,
great.
that's true.
You got 3 out of 4 correct. Yep. And anybody that asks you if you're on the Gauntlet, you say, hey, man, I got 3 out of 4 correct. Mm-hmm. And then you walk away from that person. Yeah. All right. See you, Sheldon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, Sheldon.
Carey, do you want to respond to the allegations that NY, a known CD hater, noted that that this has been rigged?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I watched the Barry Sanders Run, Barry Run. Is that the name of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember them saying that they got smoked by the Washington Redskins at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We literally just talked about who the Washington Redskins quarterback was because you said Doug Williams. I'm like, no, it wasn't Doug. And I said it's Mark Rippon. And who does the Dallas Cowboys, the Bills lost to the Giants, then they lost to the Redskins, and then they lost the last 2 to the Cowboys.
I think NY's point, and it's a good one, is that you knew these answers. So what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
It's football.
Which we know is rigged, right? The whole thing is scripted.
Man, you should have put money on me.
Whoa. Whoa. Anyway, said, it's a joke. I'm not a CD hater. I actually like CD a lot. Family member of mine is a friend of his. We're joking, too. NY. Yeah. We're joking, too.
We know you not. We're joking. Yeah, Marcia's a joke.
I'd say it was not a joke.
What?
Fact that somebody rigged this for you. All right. What can Army do to make the Blues better? Like, realistically. We'd love to hear from you, too. Whether you want to leave us a mic drop, you want to do the Air Comfort Service text line, jump in the Snake Pit, which is our YouTube via the studio cams, airline team studio cams. However you want to answer this, what can Army realistically do to make the Blues better? That's next on 101 ESPN. One of the things that I love about our guy Stewie's on the line right now is that he's always giving you helpful advice when it comes to paying attention to certain things that are going on, including the Federal Reserve. Meeting Thursday. What's the determination factor here? What do we need to know about the Federal Reserve on Thursday, Stewie?
All right, Anthony, I'm going to forecast that the Federal Reserve is going to do nothing, zero. They're not going to raise interest rates or cut it. This may actually cause interest rates to bounce back up. Now, what you have to look at is not what they do, but what they say. If they say that inflation is going in the right direction and they're possibly going to reduce it in the future, you may actually see interest rates drop. If they say, we'll have to see what they'll do, well, that doesn't give us confidence in anything, and you may actually see interest rates rise. What does that mean for you? If you're in the market to buy a house, lock the rate now. Don't take any chances. If rates go down, we can always float you down one time if you buy a home, as long as it goes down at least 0.5%. If not, you lock it, you're safe, you know what your payment's going to be. 6 months from now, rates go down, we can refinance you for free with the bagel loan. So take advantage now, lock in, don't be risky, and when things improve, we'll put you in that better place.
And you may be wondering, well, how do I lock it in now? What do I have to do? All you have to do is either call or text Stewie on his personal cell phone number. He gives it out to everybody to make sure that you get that old school customer service feel every time you call or text him. 314-324-4440. You can also Google the bagel loan to get that number if you're out driving around. Be safe on the road. But you want to lock it in, do it now, like Stewie's advising you to do. And then you pick up other nuggets along the way from Stewie, because once you become a client of his, man, he wants to help you save a bunch of money in any situation. So again, Google the bagel loan, get that number, reach out to him, and do it now. Stewie, thanks. Keep up the great work.
Have a great day, Anthony.
NMLS number 226715.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. How can Doug Armstrong, or what can he do to make the Blues better? He was asked earlier today, once he made the announcement that Brandon Saad was placed on waivers, about what he can do with the roster. What can he do now? Here's what Army said. It's a little bit longer of a cut, but he kind of dives into basically how he can evaluate. So here's what Army said in length.
I would say from a manager's perspective or management, and I talk to Alex about it all the time, that's something that I really rely to the coach and the players to figure out. You know, we're up here and we're just observing what's going on, and you know, I'm not in the room. I don't know why they say those things. I don't know why they can't correct those things. I don't know why our home record is under 500. I don't know why we didn't embrace the opportunity of a 3-game homestand to make hay, you know. But my job is to not react to it, but to observe it and then say, okay, well, what do we need to do moving forward? And part of the retool is we're finding out positive and negatives about a lot of different people, a lot of different situations in our group. Obviously, you talk to other teams about, you know, what they're going through. We are building for something in the future. We are excited about our participation in the World Junior. We're excited about how guys are playing in the American League right now. We're not going to use those type of assets to improve or hope to improve on this team. These guys are, you know, we're all making statements on where we're at in the league, you know, in our positions. And so what I can do is just try and observe, try and work with Alex, try and work with Monty, try and push these guys to be the best they can be, and see where it goes.
All right. That really is all he can do.
Yeah.
He's got a salary cap. I know he's made mistakes along the way. Somebody said, you guys only criticize when Mo makes mistakes. That's not true. We've talked about really things falling apart since not re-signing Petro and the domino effects that occurred after not re-signing Petro. We've talked about the length of some of these deals. We talked about the missteps along the way. We might not do it in a humorous way like we do with Mo, but we still talk about the missteps. But really at this point, it is only about observing. Like he said, he's not in the locker room. Mm-hmm. He can't tell you why certain players aren't producing in a certain manner. All he's doing is observing. So what can you do here? He can observe. If you start to make these rash moves, you might put yourself further behind the 8 ball. And I don't think you throw the baby out with bathwater. You did get Dylan Holloway. You did get Philip Broberg. Colton Parayko was having an excellent year. Braden Shen's been good for, strong for a month. Like there's plenty of evaluation that's going on. You just made the move to waive Brandon Saad and open up a spot to see more of Texier, which is something he clearly wanted to do. And Jim Montgomery might have been a little hesitant to play Texier more. So I think that from this standpoint right now, get on the phone, see if anybody's interested in certain players, and then observe.
To me, it sounded like he basically said, we're not bringing any young players in. This is on you all. You got to figure it out. And I don't know to me, it might be one of those things where you just reevaluate at the end of the year and say, okay, this player had a good year, this player not the year that we expected. I don't know what you get. I always find this interesting when people want to trade players that are having down years. It's not like people are lined up to grab those players. You talked about it. They tried to trade Saad. Nobody was knocking at the door. Yeah, we want him because he's not having a great year. Mm-hmm. So it's almost
he's
like
got a cap hit of $4.5 million.
But it's almost like that people believe, well, he's not good here, just trade him away. To who? Like, how do you – there has to be two parties that want to engage in this trade, and people generally aren't going to take away your trash just because you don't want them. Yeah. And I'm not calling a player trash, but I'm saying won't take away your players that you don't want just because you no longer want them. Mm. Like, there has to be some value there. And so I think it makes it hard to trade players when they're when they're struggling. It's easier to trade a player that is a future unrestricted free agent the following year, or a player that is playing at a high level that you no longer have a need for because you have other players that can replace it, or you want something of value in return. But it's extremely hard to trade a player that has no value to you if you don't think he has value to you, for another team to believe that he has value for them. So I don't know where you go. I don't think that there is anywhere for them to go. I think it's either going to be the same role or the same direction they did with Saad. But then there's some players you're not able to do that at all. So you're stuck with the guys you have, and your hope is that this new head coach can get these guys to buy in on a consistent basis where they play the game the way that it's being asked for them to play. And if not, you're going to have another season where you're not in the playoffs, and you're going to have a frustrated fan base.
All right, so let's go out to our Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop. Aaron left us a mic drop about this. What does he think Doug Armstrong could do, realistically?
Guys, I hate to say it, but there's nothing the Army can really do to help this team unless he's out there on the ice with them. And he's an old guy, so that's probably not a good thing. One thing that I wish that we could do is take the part of Braden Shinn's brain and Nathan Walker's brain and Colton Parayko and all these guys that actually do give a damn about this team and insert that into the rest of the dang players' brains. That way, we might have it. We could stand a chance of actually getting into the playoffs. Thanks.
That kind of goes. That really, Aaron's comments goes hand in hand in what Jim Montgomery's talking about when it comes to the energy level of certain guys, the the emotion, the urgency, kind of lacking in all that. You're not good basically in all three facets, in all phases right now. And he mentioned coaching too, so he took accountability early on when we listened to that audio. But yeah, you have to. I mean, you can't. You can sign somebody based on what you think they're going to do. They could have down years. They could have up years in that throughout a contract. Bad, typically if you sign somebody for 5 years and they don't play great for those 5 years unless they're Tom Brady and they just constantly defy age, right? Mm-hmm. But typically you might get 3 straight good years, 2 bad years. You might get 1 good, 1 bad, 1 good, 1 bad, 1 good. Like you don't know. One thing you can't really measure, especially if a player hadn't shown you that previously, is whether or not that player is going to consistently give you the same effort.
Right.
That's hard. That's hard to gauge, again, unless you draft that player and you could see it right away.
Well, you should never have to question a player's effort. Like if I sign a contract, if I give a guy a contract, there is not going to be any doubt in my mind that this guy is going to give effort. Mm-hmm. Is he going to have a down year? I don't know that. I don't know if he's going to miss shots or not play. I don't know if he's going to get injured. I don't know if, it's just going to be a rough season for him. But damn it, I know he's going to give me great effort. Otherwise, I wouldn't be signing this player to a long-term contract. So I don't think that should ever be questioned, and I do feel like that at times that has been questioned for this team. Like, is there enough effort? Is there enough will? Is there enough want to on a night-to-night basis? Anybody can do it, and I tell kids that I coach, like, the thing that separates people is anybody can do it one time, right? Can you do it? Okay, good job. Go do it again.
Right.
Okay, good job again. Go do it again.
Yeah.
Like, good job. Yep, that was perfect. Go do it again. Like, it's not the one-off, I did it once, now I'm good. No, you have to continue to do it every single time. And that's what separates college players from making it to the major leagues or NFL or, minor league players making it to the major leagues. Like, that's what makes it That's what allows you to make it is you did a good job, now go do it again. That's what separates championship teams from teams that don't make the playoffs.
We're going to read two texts here. Splashback Deuce, and he brought this up earlier too, and it's a really good point. Any other GMs have a Stanley Cup team full of players that earn raises going into a 3-year-long COVID flat cap? It's a really strong point. Now, you win a championship and you're a GM, you're always faced with, do I reward those players like I want to, or am I cautious knowing that player may not live up to that contract, but they helped me win a championship. They helped the team win a championship. Mm-hmm. The city has fallen in love with them. That is always going to be a challenge of a GM or a president after a championship. But like Splashback Deuce says, there's also that added element of where the cap was. So that one's tough. So I wanted to bring up that. Also, I Hate Paper Straw says, at 101 ESPN, shout out to Anthony Stalter for listing every reason to take UCLA last night and still took USC, faded him heavy, feel like I owe him a finder's fee. You know what? Take your money and don't be an Arizona Diamondback, okay, Paper Straws? I kind of liked you. Don't be a Diamondback, okay? Take the money, be happy.
I think he's saying
take the money and be... No, he's doing it in a Diamondback way.
I got thank you out of that. You said thank you, shout out, for listing every reason to take UCLA last night.
I faded him. There you go.
Feel like I owe him a finder's fee.
Let's hear from Mitchell, who gave us a Scott Lee Heating Company. Mic drop.
What's up, guys? Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday today. Enjoying the show. Keep up all the good work, you know.
Thanks,
to answer the question about what can Army do to make the Blues better realistically, I just think you just have to eat the season. I mean, there's not much else you can do. They said Saad was on the block for a while. Nobody wants him. It's probably going to be the name of the game. You're going to have to keep getting these 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks just to get new faces in the team. Let some new guys or switch up the lineup a little bit to see what maybe clicks. But, I mean, I just honestly think that you're going to have to finish out this season. Whatever happens, happens. And then reevaluate and readjust and let Montgomery do what he does best going forward after the season. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Measured take there for Mitchell. Good stuff, man. Measured tape for sure. I think that's realistic. I mean, we can take other phone, mic drops and things like that to have people. Well, you should trade this guy and trade that guy, and you should trade this, and you should acquire this guy. But what's realistic right now in this moment? That's going to be tough.
I think a lot of people at this point in time, being probably fed up with where the team's at. I think they just want to see the young guys. And I know we talked about that earlier. Is it a good idea to bring up some of these younger players in this type of atmosphere that we're experiencing right now? Maybe it's not, but I think a lot of people are past that point. They just want to see the Dvorsky's. I'm sure they're waiting for, Jimmy Snuggerud to finish up at Minnesota after the Frozen Four, or maybe they'll get bounced, and maybe I kind of hope they do because I'm a North Dakota guy. They're waiting for those type of guys just to see, okay, what will next year look like? Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing with Cardinal fans. I know we're going through this weird point in time with the youth movement, but I think there is a little bit of excitement there with the young players because the team has not been good.
Yeah.
I want something different. That's what people are clamoring for. And I think with the Blues right now, that's the only thing outside of what Mitchell just touched on and what we've been talking about letting this thing ride out and then you make adjustments in the offseason. I think people are past the point of just being patient, right? Yep. Because it's been a couple years now. Like, we want to watch playoff-type hockey, and it's annoying.
Yeah, you're right. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. By the way, Chris was asking what I meant about Arizona Diamondback. I actually got that from Marshy.
Yeah. Yeah, the D-backs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris asked, no reference to Arizona beating the Yankees following 9/11? Absolutely not. Nope.
What the heck?
Nope. We're just having fun.
Always.
Being careful.
Be careful out there. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got our Sports Six-Pack next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service tax line. So if you want to send us a question, great. We'll answer it in our Sports Six-Pack, at least part one of our Sports Six-Pack next on 101 ESPN. New year, new keys sales event going on right now at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Over 700 new and used vehicles all in one location. Heavily discounted prices on every vehicle in stock. New Nissans discounted up to $11,000 off with several brand new models priced under $30,000. Zero down, no payments for 3 months on select used vehicles or no payments for 6 months on select new Nissans. All right now at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Plus, you can take advantage of all the financing rates that they have, the low financing rates like 0% APR for 60 months on select new Nissan models, and they've got financing options for everyone that walks through the door. If you have credit issues, you're stuck with a current loan, others may, overcompromise or underdeliver, but not at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. They're as confident as anyone. When you walk through those doors, you're going to drive away in a brand new Nissan. They've got thousands of happy customers with approvals to prove it as well. Right off I-55 in McNutt, just minutes from South County, you're going to find your next new ride at Auto Centers. Check them out online, autocentersnissan.com. When you head out to Herculaneum, tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Brandon Saad was waived today after the Blues lost to the Vancouver Canucks by a final score of 5-2 last night. The Blues will take on the Colorado Avalanche on Friday, and you can listen to that one right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 7. Puck drop is at 8. We'll discuss Brandon Saad being waived today and Doug Armstrong's comments with Joe Joe Vitale. We'll have him on the show at 5 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. But coming up next, we have our Sports Six-Pack. So get your questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Part 1, at least, of the Sports Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So if you've got a question for us, send it in. Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
Question number 1.
All right, this first question, I absolutely love it because I've been thinking the same thing for a few years now. From the 618, do you think that Super Bowl ads should not be shown until the game, or do you agree with the early release and viewing?
No, I think they should be part of the package on Super Bowl Sunday.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to. I don't know. The commercials, I feel like maybe we're just spoiled now.
Mm-hmm.
But the commercials haven't really been as great as one would think they should be.
Yeah.
They used to be awesome.
Past.
Yeah.
Remember the E-Trade babies?
Oh, yeah.
Take these broken wings.
You're right. They were better back in the day. And it's crazy too because people kind of skip through commercials now, or they stream and you only get certain ads. So you would like to think that the creativity would be at an all-time high for Super Bowl ads because everybody's locked in like, oh, I want to see this.
Somebody got to come with it. Get it together.
Who's it going to be?
I don't know.
Okay.
The best commercial, and I think it was a Super Bowl commercial, when they had all the NFL legends and they were in the ballroom, like throwing the ball around and people were getting tackled, and like that to me.
That was a great one.
Oh, man.
That was the NFL 100 years.
Oh, man.
Is that when they, like Randy Moss and Jerry Rice, Dan Marino?
It was everybody. They were all in it. Like, that was one of the best commercials I've seen.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other ones I really liked. Terry Tate, office linebacker.
Oh, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that Terry Crews?
No, that was no, that wasn't Terry Crews. I can't remember his name. But it wasn't Terry Crews.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of stink now. Like they do.
Yeah.
They're not interesting.
Nope. Nobody's into it. Nobody cares. They don't care.
Well, and to this texter's point, they're showing the commercials like on YouTube before the Super Bowl.
That's dumb.
I mean, if you're paying all that money, I don't want to preview it.
No, you're gonna see it when everybody else sees it.
Yep,
it's gonna be outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Question number 2.
From the 636, actually the 314 says the Doritos. Doritos had some good ones.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Droid FX says that too. Doritos commercials always pop off. Bazooka Tooth, GoDaddy always had good ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyways, the 636, which happens first? A St. Louis team wins a playoff round.
Okay.
Or the Chiefs miss the playoffs.
What will happen first?
Yes.
Oh. So St. Louis team makes the playoffs?
A St. Louis team wins a playoff round.
Or game?
Round.
Well, the Battlehawks.
Cardinals.
That's a round.
Blues.
It could be like the divisional round.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. So it could be a game, but yeah.
A round.
No, it'll be a St. Louis team.
I agree.
Winning a playoff round / game.
Is Patrick Mahomes retiring tomorrow?
No.
Or after the game?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl forever.
He's 29.
Yeah.
Brady played till 42.
Yeah.
So I would have to think that...
you think he plays till 42?
Yeah. I have to think that within 13 years, One of these St. Louis teams will win a playoff round or a playoff game.
A game.
If not, this job is going to get really, really difficult.
Actually, no. It could get really good. This job?
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony, you mean to tell me people won't be tuned in year after year?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
they might just stop caring about sports at that point.
Yeah.
Sports is needed in life. Takes you away from all the other things that go on.
But if your team stinks, then it just further highlights the fact that your life isn't great.
It gives you something to complain about. You know? It's like having a villain in sports. You got something you want to be mad about. You'd be mad about them damn Redbirds or the Blues for not
I saw
what they need to do.
I saw the other day Barstool, they did like a hotline thing, complaining about whatever, and they had a Bills fan on there. And one thing that jumped out to me about that call was that he said, I give so much to this team, but they never reciprocate it. I wonder if fans here, at least
deep.
right now, feel the same way, where you're giving all your time, energy, money to a team, and they're not reciprocating that. It doesn't need to necessarily be a championship, but you have to have that hope that it's in the horizon. And I don't know if these teams right now are necessarily giving that to this fan base.
Man, the way you put that, or the way that you relayed that, makes me feel like for some fan bases, it's almost like a relationship where you're a victim. The abuse is bad, but you still love that person.
Yeah.
Even though the abuse is bad, you can see through it because you just have so much love in your heart.
Yeah.
But they just keep putting you down.
You keep showing up.
Yeah. Then you keep showing up.
Yeah, because you think you can fix them.
Well, you hope it gets better.
Yeah.
You see the potential in them.
Bazooka Tooth just noted that Jay Delson, good friend of the show. Love you, Jay. Jay Lifson's office. Bazooka Tooth said golf with Jay Delson would be moved into your time slot. Absolutely. You do a phenomenal job.
Have you seen the Tiger Woods, the tournament thing they have going on?
Oh, TGL?
I've seen a little bit of it.
It's pretty sweet, actually.
Looks pretty cool.
I've been watching a little bit of it.
Splashback Dude says this job survived an underground traveling baseball league. Do you remember we tried to start that?
No, I wasn't here.
In COVID, we tried to start our own baseball league. Where we were just going to have pop-ups.
You know what? I do remember when I would listen to the show.
Yeah.
As a fan, I do remember hearing about it.
It was COVID, and we were going to create a baseball league that popped up various times where it's going to be this underground thing. And you didn't really know until an hour before the first pitch where the game was going to be, but we're going to have a pop-up league.
Yeah.
And if the authorities were called, everybody would have to scramble. That was just part of the ticket. It would say right there on the ticket.
Not liable.
Exactly.
Man, that actually, and it didn't happen.
Actually probably would have been good.
It didn't happen. No, fortunately, baseball came back.
You could be outside.
Yeah,
that makes me worried about the clear camp.
That was part of the deal. Well, the clear camp's going to be legit.
When are we? Did we get any confirmation on?
I'm looking at a summer date right now.
Time out.
What?
What do you mean we?
Carey's a part of it.
You've been with Jamie.
No, Carey's
been with Jamie.
He bowed in last week.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you even made a comment about it.
I said I was in.
That's right. I made you like the president or something.
Yeah,
marketing.
No, you're the president.
Guy.
You're marketing. That's right.
I told you I had the signs how we were going to do them.
I apologize.
Yeah, come on.
I apologize.
I was going to write the script.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeez.
My fault. Aries.
Yeah. Not the god of war, though.
Not the god of war.
Zodiac sign. Yeah. We got to be real clear about that.
Were they serious when they texted that?
I don't know. I can't tell these days anymore.
All right.
We have a lot of funny listeners, a lot of sarcastic listeners.
Yes.
And it's really hard to tell via text.
Yeah. Jamie's right. I think we all do this sometimes. Marsh less so, but I know, Carey, you do it too. Jamie always says that he reads text messages as if the other person is angry. And I think, Carey, you and I do the same thing.
I do, too.
Like, we read something, and it's like, we start biting back, and the person's like, I was just joking. And we're like, oh, yeah, us too. I'm not going to find your family and destroy everything you love. I was just kidding. Yeah. All right, let's do part 2 of the Sports Six Pack. Again, keep sending those questions in 314-399-9646. Air Common Service text line. More Sports Six Pack next. Hey, Missouri sports fans, got some great news for you. Underdog is available to play in your state. So with Underdog Fantasy, it's the best place to cash in on all your takes during the NFL playoffs, during the NHL season, the NBA season. They even got college basketball, MMA, anything you're looking for, Underdog Fantasy they got. So which players are going off? Which ones are going to be ice cold? With over 5 million happy players and 2 billion won, Underdog Fantasy makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. So when you go to Underdog Fantasy, you'll see that there's certain players available and their stats are there. All you have to do is choose higher or lower on those stats. So maybe you like Patrick Mahomes to have a lot of rushing attempts against the Eagles in the big game next week. Great. You can choose higher on Patrick Mahomes' rushing attempts. Maybe you like something from the NBA tonight. Maybe you like, Anthony Davis going off in a certain game for the Lakers. I think the Lakers are playing. Maybe you choose a hockey player. You could group it all together. It doesn't have to be one sport. That's what Underdog Fantasy is all about, and you can win a bunch of money in the process. They're also fair, too. They got their Underdog Rescues. You can get your money back and receive a promo if an early injury causes your entry to lose. And with Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn them into a win. Underdog is the best place to play. Sign up, deposit now with my promo code Anthony. That's all you have to do. Type in Anthony to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, you'll get an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry, all by using the promo code Anthony with Underdog Fantasy. Must be 18 or older, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Part 2 of the Sports Six-Pack. We got to move quickly here. We got Joe Vitale coming up. We got to get his thoughts on Brandon Saad and the Blues' recent headlines. But let's continue our Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 3.
All right, we get a question from the 636. First of all, love the show. Listen every day.
Thank you.
Thank you. But honest question.
Oh, boy.
Do you guys get tired of having to rehash / talk about the same topic over and over again? It does not bother me. Just sometimes I notice it's an unfortunate side effect of daily sports reporting.
I will answer for myself. Love the job. Wouldn't want to do anything else. Would be lost without it. Which doesn't say much about me. Anyways, I love the job. 100%. Yes. Yes. We kind of realize that, we're obviously going to play to the things that you guys mostly want to hear, which includes a lot of the local teams. Sometimes we want to branch out. We do a little bit, but ultimately we're going to come back. We're going to circle back to the biggest local topics at hand over the 4 hours.
Yeah.
To rehash some of the same things over and over again, yes, it gets tedious. It's as honest as I can be.
But it's also required because people aren't listening for a complete 4 hours. So there is time. And then I think the good part about it, you do get kind of like, oh, we just did this. But something new might pop into your head that you hadn't thought about previously. And so you can bring that into the conversation. And I think I enjoy, the Sports Six-Pack is probably one of our best segments because we do get to answer questions and we get to talk to people directly. I think that's one of the things that they enjoy the most.
But we get 2 of them, too.
If you can squeeze 3, I mean.
Don't think we won't.
Make it up, 12-pack. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anthony?
But that is part of, and CD just started it, so I'll add on to it. And we're not placating here. It is so imperative that we do get your viewpoint on things. So the snake pit being as active as it is, the text line being as active as it is, our Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop feature, like we really enjoy hearing from you because Carey's right. There might be a conversation we've had for the previous 3 shows, but somebody could bring a different perspective in from a listener standpoint that said, sends us down a different path. So, no, this is one of the reasons why we really appreciate you guys being a part of the show.
Well, also, I think it has to do with the teams. The teams haven't changed. We keep talking about the same things over and over again because the question marks remain the same over the past 3-4 years.
So to your point, Marsh, I often text with my guy, Danny Pants, Dan Betlock. And there are times where he'll text me and say, you've been talking about the same Cardinals topic for 10 years. And he's absolutely right. Like the off-season discussion. If you played my, the turn from 2014, Dunk and I were probably talking about something similar to your point.
That's their fault. It's not your fault. You just report the news. You're not. You don't make it.
No. Well, sometimes.
When you run your head into walls, that's kind of newsworthy. Sorry. It was uncalled for. It was uncalled for. I don't know why I did it.
See, he does it. Every now and then, Carey does this thing, right? Where he wants to put you down.
I would never do that. No, you did earlier.
What?
You did it within this hour.
Why are you bringing this up again? And we don't want to keep rehashing the same things, Anthony.
That's called gaslighting. All right. At least some form of it. All right. I guess we got to get to Joe Vitale, right?
Yeah.
Joe's waiting for us. Let's not make Joe wait.
No, he would understand though if we had another.
You want another one?
Nah.
Let's do one more.
Okay. All right.
Let's do one more. We're going to do one more.
We'll make it quick.
We'll make it quick. I feel like this next one's pretty easy.
Question number 4.
From the 618, what city would you consider the most miserable sports city?
Cleveland.
Yeah, they're got to be pretty miserable.
Yeah. Cleveland. It's
in a like I feel sorry for you way, not a.
No, I'm sure the fans
miserable.
are. I'm sure the fans are.
Like Buffalo is up there.
No, they love Buffalo. Like they don't win often, but they love it.
You have the Bills.
It's got to be Cleveland.
Well, yeah, it's Cleveland, full stop. But
like Guardians, hey, man, we're pretty good this year. We're not going to win anything.
What about Cincinnati?
That's a good one, too.
Right?
Yeah.
The Bengals have went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they didn't win.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
So, like, Ohio, but
the
not
state
Columbus. Well, no, because you got Ohio State.
You got Columbus
and you got the Bobcats.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they count.
No. They don't count?
I think they count.
They're the only team that play on Tuesdays in that state. Actually, no, that's not true. Akron, Miami, Ohio. Basically, all of the MAC is right there. All right, Joe Vitale next. Talk a little Brandon Saad and other Blues headlines here on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Super Bowl champ Carey Davis, and I want to tell you about All Things Appearance. If you have any car needs, anything, whether it's small details or major work needing to be done, you can call All Things Appearance, and they can get you in and out and get you taken care of. The owner, Jeff, is a great guy. I spoke with him yesterday, and he wanted me to let you know if you need to be picked up, if you need drop-off, even if you need towing, those are things that they can help you with. All you need to do is dial 636-248-5051 or reach out to them at allthingsappearance.com. Jeff, I said he's the owner. He's a guy that wants you to call him any time of day. Most companies, you can't call him on Saturdays. You can't get in. You can't find anyone to help you get your car repaired, but he is able to answer that phone number and give you an estimate as quickly as possible and hopefully get you back up and running. He wants to do all the work, whether it's standard maintenance, dent repair, collision repair. They can do it all, major or minor body work. All Things Appearance is the company you need to call to get your car in the best shape possible and get you back on the road as quickly as possible. Again, that's 636-248-5051. Ask for Jeff. He's the owner. He will get you taken care of, or you can reach out to him at allthingsappearance.com.
.504, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, and let's head to the Callier and Thompson phone line. Joe Vitale is joining us right now. Joe, of course, part of the broadcast right here on 101 ESPN and the Blues Radio Network. And an interesting day for us, Joe, with the Blues, as Brandon Saad was placed on waivers after the team reportedly tried to trade him. Your biggest takeaway, your biggest reaction to the Saad news?
Hey, Stalter, how you doing, buddy? No surprise, I guess. Curbs and I and Alex were breaking the game down last night, and it's that intuition you get, being around the game a long time,
Sure.
where they're playing, and certainly being around this team, seeing and feeling the energy and the decisions of Doug Armstrong. This is kind of his time of the year. This is where he makes a lot of decisions in that kind of January. He's always been a GM that's gotten ahead of things. You look at the trades, the Tarasenko and O'Reilly and all those players, those came early, if you remember. So he's not a GM that waits around a lot. So you knew as the new year came around, you're kind of January, February, thinking, okay, this is kind of the time he does stuff. You put that on top of the fact that the Blues lost, not only 1 but 3 games in a row on home ice. You don't even scratch and claw for a point. I get that they are good teams. I get that they're all playoff teams. But at the same time, I think it was less about not even the points you didn't earn, but also just the style from what you're seeing. And it makes you obviously a little antsy and nervous if you're Doug Armstrong. And like I mentioned on the broadcast last night after the game was over, you feel like something of good magnitude is going to happen after a loss like that. Something needs to switch up. Something needs to change. And I think that, of course, Brandon Saad, as much as it's unfortunate for him, the facts are the facts. This is a business. And, his offense really has slid a little bit this year. His play has slid off a little bit this year. And I think this is a decision that clearly needed to be done for the betterment of the team.
Joe, you've been a professional athlete, and we both know that at some point you're on your third coach in a calendar year's time. So it's clearly not the coaches. And as a player in that locker room, you have to start thinking, hey, if we don't perform well, there could be some major shifts. What do you think that this team is like, the feelings that they're going through right now, knowing that Saad was waived and they're not playing at the level that they need to be playing at?
Yeah, I think that, Carey, you bring up a good point. A lot of times you see one coaching change, and then all of a sudden, obviously, it gets the players' attention. I think that we saw that from Craig Berube to Drew Bannister last year. And listen, the team did turn it around, and turned it around to the point where Drew Bannister earned himself another contract. They just missed the playoffs, but they were in a bit of a hole when Drew took over. And you come into this year, now all of a sudden that message is kind of wearing off, and then you bring in Jim Montgomery, and then once again, right, you have that surge of really good hockey, and then it kind of maybe has dropped off here a little bit. So with every coach, Craig Berube comes in, you win a Stanley Cup, a couple good years, then it's starting to fall off. You bring in Drew Bannister, here we go, we're on the up and up again. Over time, what happens? We start to fall off. Jim Montgomery comes in, once again, we're ramping it up, right, and then we're starting to fall off. I think that you see this with new coaches in any sport, especially the sport of hockey for some reason. But when they come in, they have a new philosophy, they have a new energy, they have a new voice, and the players get excited about it. And they're all like, yes, sir, let's go to work. And they do the details and they do the habits that the coach is preaching. Now, I think certainly the same thing happened for Jim Montgomery. He comes in, and the team responds very well. Now, what happens over time? Over time, for the most part, the teams that have those good surges of new coaching, they eventually kind of plateau a little bit. The 19 Blues team is a little bit of an anomaly because those teams do kind of come back down off that mountain. Now, with that being said, why is that? I think because we're human. We're creatures of habit. We're very, very habitual players where, stopping and starting, yeah, you want to impress a new coach, and you're going to do that for a few weeks. But if you don't have it in your system to really make it a good habit, eventually you're going to fall off again. And I think that's what we're seeing again for the third coach, like you mentioned. You have good moments and obviously good spurts, but now these players are some of them are shifting back into their old habits. And when you do that, play is going to fall, play is going to suffer. So without question, Carey, I know this is a long way to answer your question. The players understand right now it has nothing really to do with the coaching. This is about them. It's about their consistency to the game. It's about their approach. It's about the professionalism of preparation and being ready to play every single night, because clearly right now you're looking at the system and where this team is at, and it's very little to do with the coaching at this point.
Joe Vitale joins us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Joe, when you're observing this team, and you're, of course, as close, now you're not in the locker room every day, but you do have an opportunity to observe, and you have played the game. When you're looking at this team, and you're through almost the lens of Doug Armstrong, you're trying to figure out where you can add and take away, it becomes more than just about hockey. So if you're in the spot of Doug Armstrong, what can you do from your standpoint to help get this team from where they are now to where it really needs to be, which is a consistent playoff contender again?
Well, I think, Stalter, that's obviously a great question, $1 million question that, if I had the answer for it, I'd be in a very different position here. But, if I could.
Now's your chance, Joe. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get Joe hired as a president.
We'll see. I think the first thing you have to do is, to be based off of kind of what I'm seeing, I think you got to sit down with the leadership group of this team and, to a man and face to face. And you got your captain in front of you and Braden Shen. You have your alternates. And, you have your players like Jordan Carey who don't necessarily wear a leather, but they're the future of this organization. And I think you just have a very upfront and honest conversation about where things are at. And you try to get a pulse on what this leadership group is. And then you have to ask yourself a question. If the leadership group as a whole isn't where it needs to be to get this thing over the hump, can it get there? To me, that's the $1 million question, because if you feel like they can't get there, then I think that then you're talking about moving core pieces at some point to reestablish this thing. You look at the 19 team, and I only reference them because the listeners out there remember that team so well. But you had Petro and O'Reilly, and even Tarasenko was a quiet leader. David Perron was a mouthy guy. You had Tyler Bozak, who never zipped it. I mean, Pat Maroon, a personality beyond words. They had a lot of pieces of leadership. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Braden Shen is carrying the bulk of it, but I think he is. I think he really has had a lot of pressure on himself to be the captain, to be the leader, because he's trying to lead. But also you have a lot of young players who are a little bit quieter, who are still kind of adjusting to this kind of alpha role, if you will. Look at a player like Carey, naturally a pretty quiet player. Colton Parayko, a quiet player. Again, this is not a knock on them. It's just kind of who they are. But can you, as Doug Armstrong, can you figure out if the future pieces here, along with Braden Shen, who's doing a terrific job, can they assist in being the leadership core you need to get this thing going? Because we're kind of identifying the issue is maybe now it is this group. Well, why can't this group figure it out? Well, to me, it starts with the leadership group. Can this group of guys, can these 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, whatever it is, the Buchneviches and everyone involved, can they get that room, grab it, and get it going in the right direction?
Joe, you played the game, and you were surrounded by great leaders when you did play. What do those conversations look like, teammate to teammate, and how do you differentiate keeping a teammate accountable and sort of going about that with friendships as well?
I think if anything, it's just a balance. I remember being on the bench when Danny Malkin, he would kind of do what he wanted. He had bad details of the game. He would turn the puck over a ton. Now he got away with it because he also probably had 3 points at the end of almost every night. So the coach is like, okay, well, let's kind of sink or swim with this kid. So you kind of just let him go. But, I'll never forget one game where we were dying and we were really hurt, and Gino had a couple turnovers, and then he comes back to the bench, and Brooks Orpik, who was our alternate captain and multi-Stanley Cup champion with the Penguins and Capitals, one of the best leaders I've been around, he just stands up on the bench and called it what it was and just said it. You know what I mean? He just said, Gino, you got to be better. Get that thing in. You know what I mean? He's screaming, and then Gino's, cursing him back and rushing, and he's yelling, I don't know what you're saying, but it doesn't sound good. And we're kind of in the middle of this whole thing here. But, it's less about what Brooks said, and it's more about, I think, for Evgeny at the time was that, hey, I'm letting the guy down next to me. It's one thing to let your coaches down, right? It's one thing at time to let yourself down. We never want to let the fans down. But there is something very triggering as a player when you get called out by another one of your peers, because you look down the bench and you're looking around, you got, 20 guys here, and everyone's pulling on the rope. And when you feel like you're being called out for not pulling the rope, that's borderline embarrassing, right? And no one likes that feeling. But that's where, to me, the player-to-player accountability, that's why it's the most impactful. Like Jim Montgomery, telling, let's just say, a Jake Neighbors, Jake, you got to get that puck in. What is Jake thinking? Well, that's your job to tell me that. And what happens? In one ear, out the other, right? But if it's someone, if it's even a young guy like Tyler Tucker, coming up now, he may not like it, but at the same time, he's like, whew, I mean, that can kind of jolt you. That can kind of, jolt you a little bit. And it's like when, your wife's telling you, hey, I like those pants on you, honey. And you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, thanks. And you kind of just like blow it right by. Well, you're supposed to say that to your wife. But then you go out and then like one of your wife's friends is like, hey, those pants look good on you. You're like, whoa, okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll be wearing these pants. But you know what I mean? Like different voices come differently and they come more or less and more impactful. So I think that the players talking to each other, that's like your wife's friend telling you, look, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that really is triggering for a player. And I think that's what that 19 team had. They had, I mean, Craig Berube would say it over and over, like, I don't really need to discipline. I don't need to, like, get these guys pumped up. I don't need to go in there and give them a rah-rah speech. I mean, they run the ship. They run the show. It's their room. It's their team. And he would always say that, and they had the leadership group to do it. So, I think we're looking at this thing, and where do we go from here? And I think, like, to answer your original question there, Salt, it's sitting down and figuring out, is this the core? Is this the future group of players, these 6-7 individuals who can get the job done and corral this group and get this thing going in the right direction?
Well said, Joe. Great stuff, man. Appreciate you. We know it's not easy to talk about. A team that right now it looks like it's going to start making some moves to think about the future. So it's not an easy conversation, but we do appreciate you having it with us. And we'll talk to you again next week, man. Have a great rest of your week.
Hey, sounds good, boys. Hey, I really appreciate it. Like I said, the good thing is that you got a great coach here. And to me, the captain is unreal. And you got the goaltending still, I believe, that can get the job done. So it's amazing how you're in the dips one week. But this team still got a lot of belief here. And it could be a fun little run.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Joe. Thanks, man. We'll see you. Splashback Deuce also said it either embarrasses you or offends you and makes you more divided. A lot of people blame other people even when they're being told to their face it's their doing. Well said. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of what, Carey, you often say. If the same people are telling you the same things year in and year out or month in and month out or week in and week out and they're different people, the problem is you.
No question.
You got to look in the mirror. You got to own up to it. If you're going to make a change to help not only yourself but the betterment of the team, you got to start in the mirror first.
And some players, they can take that and they can change, or they simply don't. And I think that shows what type of player they are. And that ultimately leads to what certain teams have culture-wise. Some teams, they change and they go in the right direction, and some teams stay stagnant, and ultimately they aren't a playoff team, and they continue to be in the same cycle, which is frustrating.
Well, you get that criticism, right, CD? You get the criticism, and you either absorb it, and you're like, all right, let me take a breath here, let me take a beat, let me really listen to this, or you take that criticism, and it bounces off of you, and it projects.
Yeah, it's something, and Joey hit the nail on the head. When you are, like, as a player, yeah, we care about making sure our coaches know we're doing a good job, but I don't care about them more than I care about my teammates. Yeah. If my teammates tell me, man, you played your ass off today, that I really played because they know what it takes. Or if they say you didn't, hey, we need more, that's more like, oh, it's a gut punch because, man, this guy don't think I did good enough. Sure. Like, I don't want to let him down. I don't really. We can rally together and hate the coaches together.
Right. Right.
And I've told my players, if you need somebody to hate me. Yeah. But do it collectively. Like, be a group, be together and hate me. Like, just be mad at me. But do it together as a group. And when you do that, like, if you are unable to be called out by your own teammate, you're not going to have a good team. Because now you're so sensitive in the, he's mad. You didn't play well enough, man. You stink. And we ain't going to win if you don't play. So be better. And then I was one last thing, because we got a text from the 314. It says leadership stuff is BS. You got Cam Fowler, Ryan Sutton, Parayko, Thomas Shin, all vets with tons of experience. Age and years in the league are not what make you a leader. A leader is a person that is willing to stand up, first of all, do the things the right way themselves, and then stand up and hold everyone else accountable for what they do. And just because you've been around for a long time, or just because you're a leader in terms of your years in the league, or a veteran because of your years in the league, does not make you a leader of a team or a leader of men. Everyone is not willing to stand out in front and be, because once you stand out in front, now the microscope is on you. You better be playing to the same level that you're expecting everyone else to be playing at.
Yeah, let's not confuse leadership with experience.
Correct.
There's two different things.
But and with that though, when I hear the Blues are in a retool, well, they got all these young guys. do they though? Like,
it's a mix, yeah.
It's a mix, but they have a lot of, maybe it's not leaders in itself, and maybe they are, and we just, we're not in the locker room, right? But experience, for me, I think the Blues have a ton of experience on this team. So the fact that they still continue to not get up night in and night out, you would think that those experienced players would know how to do that because those players have had success before in their career. There's a reason why they're on this team. Definitely. So I think that's the frustrating part is that they're not getting up night in and night out, and it's not just the young players and even the core players. Like, they're young players, but they've been in the league for quite a long time. You'd think that they would be able to get up night in and night out.
No doubt. All right, Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter. What has been the more impressive dynasty? Patriots' first dynasty, their second dynasty, or the Chiefs' current dynasty? Interesting question. We'll get into it next on 101 ESPN. Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter. Got Jamie Rivers out sick today. Hopefully we'll see him back tomorrow. Hopefully he's well, resting up today. Which NFL dynasty has been more impressive? 3 different options for you. The Patriots' first dynasty, which unfortunately started with their upset win over the Rams. Then it continued to the victory over the Panthers and then the Eagles. That would be like their first dynasty. The Patriots' second dynasty, which would have spanned from the Seahawks, the Falcons, and then the Rams, or the current Chiefs dynasty. What has been the most impressive to you?
Well, I want to start off by saying the fact that the dynasties are only able to take place because both of those quarterbacks, the Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and the Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, don't take the highest money. They don't take the most salary.
True.
They don't go and become the highest paid quarterback in the league, highest paid player, which inevitably impacts the entire team. So you can start with that. That's why they are even able to be in this position. Because if Patrick Mahomes takes $60 million like Dak Prescott has, you probably don't have Chris Jones on your roster.
Right.
Like you miss out on some people somehow, some way, and you're not able to keep all those people intact. With that being, yes, sir.
Marshy, do you hear what he's saying?
What did I say?
Without saying it?
What did I say?
I don't know. I'm not picking up what you're throwing down here.
Saying Big Ben was selfish.
Oh, wow.
That was
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Big Ben have not been that selfish. CD's got 2 more rings. We're talking about Dynasty.
Money happens. He's not mad
CD,
about it.
Don't worry about it. Marsh turned off the mics when I said that. Our secret, okay? Now continue.
With that being said, I feel like what the Patriots did in their first run would be the most impressive run. Because, I mean, I don't know if you remember, who was their receiver? Who are their receivers? Troy Brown.
Who played
cornerback with number 80 on.
Yeah, that's a rough one. He did okay, though.
He did, but
yeah, that first one would have been, Troy Brown. Running backs, Kevin Falk.
Did they have Deion Branch?
Deion Branch was part of the Patriots.
He was the third Super Bowl.
Third Super Bowl, he was part of that.
Second and third, I believe.
Yeah,
David Patton.
Ooh.
David Givens.
You're naming guys I've never heard of.
You had Troy Brown. Antoine Smith was the running back.
Kevin Falk wasn't part of that?
He was the third down back.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. The names on offense, you're like, this is before the Gronkowskis and this is before Wes Welker
Julian
Edelman and Amendola. This is before that group. That
Randy
first,
Moss.
but he didn't win a Super Bowl.
No.
But that first group, that group of skill guys on the offensive side. So to me, that's the most impressive one.
Oh man, I think I got to go with the Chiefs right now.
What?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So my thing, one of my, I don't know how to say this without seeming like I'm criticizing or taking anything away from the Patriots dynasty. Both were very impressive, and you bring up really good points about the skill position players. But the Patriots playing the AFC East as long as they did, they basically had a 20-level video game, and they got to start on level 10 right out of the bat. Like, that's what that was like. Now, to face Peyton Manning eventually, Big Ben eventually, I don't know who else was in that conference that really gave him that much trouble besides those two. That certainly was difficult. But to start in the AFC East, you were essentially handed 6 wins right away. Like, here you go. That's before you get into the other either non-conference or conference games against teams that were fast-lane awful, right? So I think that takes something away from it. The Chiefs, they haven't played in a stacked division, but I do think, comparatively speaking, the AFC West has been more competitive than the AFC East ever was. You did have, the Chargers have been pretty good at times under Mahomes. This year, you had 3 teams make the playoffs.
You think the Chargers were good with
I think
Brandon Staley as their head coach?
I think Justin Herbert.
You think a lot of him
is a better quarterback than the absolute crap that the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets.
We got it. It's probably even. You got the Raiders. Who has been their quarterback?
Raiders are the one. Look, the Raiders are tough. The Raiders are a tough example. Yeah, you love Derek Carr.
I did until I didn't.
The Patriots had 3 Raiders in their division.
Correct. Thank you.
That's harsh.
Minus a few years with Rex Ryan and
who always had great defenses, and then they ruined it with Mark Sanchez. And I know they got to they got back-to-back AFC title games because of that defense. The Sanchez was terrible for them during the regular season. He made like 2 good throws to get them to the AFC title game.
You might have a
back-to-back years.
I just looked up the Dolphins quarterback in 2003. It was Jay Fiedler.
Run that thing. Jay Fiedler on the roof. Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
And those were the 2 good. Those were like the 2 better ones.
Chad Pennington was good.
The Bills. Look at the nonsense the Bills put on the field. Don't get me started on the Jets. So I think the Patriots had a significant advantage playing in a division of minor league football teams. There are minor league football teams in the AFC East.
That's real.
I think the Chiefs have had a tougher road. I also think there's better quarterback play right now in the AFC than there was during the time of Tom Brady. Save, of course, for the elite guys like Peyton Manning and for the really good Big Ben. That's my thought. So I think the Chiefs have had some better, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I know you don't like him. I think Justin Herbert's is a good quarterback.
I don't dislike Justin Herbert.
I know you hate his face.
I just know if you throw it more than 30 times, it's not a good thing.
You hate his face?
Nah, he's a handsome lad.
C.J. Stroud now the last 2 years.
Didn't Anthony just say that he thought I was Justin Herbert the other day?
No, Josh Allen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It was the long hair.
You put Josh Allen or you put Andrew Marsh in a Buffalo Bills helmet, you tell me it's not Josh Allen.
Well, he was in a Vikings helmet. And
it was Justin Jefferson the other day.
Leave and didn't.
And we all saw how that turned out. You know what I mean, Marsh?
What are you talking about?
Maybe you don't do that again. Oh yeah, Phillip Rivers splashback dudes did say Phillip Rivers. Yeah, that was good. He was good.
Yeah, I had a great day from 2 to 6 that day.
Yes, you did. Actually, you were kind of in a mood that day.
I was actually.
You were in a bad mood.
Well, it's because I knew what was happening. I knew my fate was already sealed before I got home.
Yeah, let's peel back the curtain. For those that don't know, we all agreed to take the Rams in that game against the Vikings.
Yeah.
To put us over the hump in the NFL Pick'em Challenge. So Marsh knew it was either Vikings lose or he lost the Pick'em Challenge and he had to get the cul-de-sac hairdo.
I think he would have actually taken the cul-de-sac if the Vikings. You would have taken it if they won the Super Bowl.
So I said that's what I said. I said if they won that game and I had to get a cul-de-sac, I was going to be okay with it if they were to win a Super Bowl. In fact, I would have done it the day they won the Super Bowl. I would have shaved my own head.
Right.
And I don't care what it would look like.
Yeah.
I would have done it if they would have won the Super Bowl. But you know what?
Didn't have to worry about it.
Didn't have to worry about it. Probably won't have to worry about it for a while.
MD 2020. Anthony conveniently forgetting Ryan Fitzmagic and Trent Dilfer. Very fair. Well said, MD 2020. All right, we've got Bet the Board, so, Paper Straws can listen to have me, I'll give my fade material to Paper Straws. Bet the Board next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues lose to the Vancouver Canucks last night by a final score of 5-2. Earlier today, the Blues placed Brandon Saad on waivers. We talked about that with Joe Vitale. If you missed that conversation, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. The Blues will take on the Colorado Avalanche on Friday. We'll have that game for you. Pregame starts at 7. Puck drop is at 8. We'll also have a Blues instant replay from 6 to 7 after the show. And you'll hear from Doug Armstrong, who spoke to the media earlier today on various topics as it relates to your St. Louis Blues. We have Bet the Board coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Carey continues to smack us around and bet the board as he is steamrolling to a victory in the month of January. But we play the game nonetheless.
Yeah.
What do we got for latest standings, Marsh? Not
Carey with 12. Anthony, you have 8. Jamie and I have 7 points.
All right. So it's really a race for second right now. Yeah. Go ahead, Carey. Give us your winner for tonight.
Give me Stephen Curry, 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Okay, I like it.
He might score a lot.
Carey, you and I have a conversation about Zoosh's Kentucky Wildcats, and I don't understand why they're plus 11 tonight in Knoxville. You decided to be like, oh, yeah, no, go ahead and take them. And I was going to go the spiteful route, but I'm not.
Oh, you changed your mind?
I changed my mind because you reminded me. Spite is like 0 for 5 right now in the fast lane. So give me the Capitals minus 145 on the money line. They're playing the Calgary Flames. And they're pretty hot right now.
Give me the Colorado Avalanche as they tonight are taking on the New York Islanders. Colorado money line minus 135.
Oh, not a believer in Scott Perunovich, huh? You don't think the Perunovich is going to turn that team around, do you?
Anthony, come on, man.
No.
What are you giving? Didn't Jamie play for the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, he likes the Rangers. Not the Rangers. I'm sorry. He likes the Canadiens over the Jets.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that's he had a pretty ballsy call last night.
Yeah,
he took the Sharks.
He did.
But as we discussed, he loves the Sharks. Zoosh also filling us in all of Kentucky's injuries. That's why. That makes sense. Still 11 points in conference play. That's a ton.
Should have went for it.
You know why I didn't? Because you were so... You're baiting me.
I just agreed with you. You liked the pick. I liked it for you.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
Not one bit. Yeah. If you're just joining us, we got in a car, long day today, didn't have an opportunity to kind of, stay up to date on your sports. Brandon Saad was waived today. He was placed on waivers by your St. Louis Blues. He's got a $4.5 million cap hit. Unlikely to be picked up by any team on waivers. We'll have to see. And if he doesn't, he's going to have to report to Springfield. Reports are that the Blues tried to trade him over the last couple of weeks, weren't able to do so, and Brandon Saad is actually he was willing to waive his no trade clause to play somewhere else. Couldn't get it done. Is this the start? Well, I guess Scott Perunovich being traded was the start, technically. But is this the start of more moves to come here for Doug Armstrong? Do you think we'll see more players dealt? Do you think it'll be an active trade deadline for the Blues, but from the standpoint of being sellers?
Depending on who you're trading. And I don't think they're going to trade any of those big contracts. And if you've said Justin Falk in the past, okay, what does that net you? So I think it just depends
prospects.
on You got those guys, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't need more. I mean, I guess you could never have enough.
Cap space.
Do you need that?
Opportunities for somebody else.
Who?
Me.
Well, you're in the clear camp, or
you don't think I can clear it?
I know you can.
Thank you.
Yep, I know you clear it with the best of them, man.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Now I get my head taken off?
Probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't skate at all, so I don't.
Would I get one clear before I get my head taken off?
Over under one?
Over under a half.
I'm gonna go under.
Okay, so you think I get absolutely obliterated before I have one opportunity to clear a
fast enough?
Yeah.
What? Like, unless it comes directly to you and you're standing there, I don't know if you get there. Like, if you up and down, back and forth, you got to outrace somebody to get to the puck, you're going to make it. I'm sorry. I just don't think you're going to make it.
First of all, could I even handle it? Could I even handle the puck?
Anthony, I've seen you in the office, the old one that is, with a stick in your hand, and you were going back and forth, stick handling, and being very motivating about getting pucks out of the zone, and just from seeing that, I believe that you would stand no chance.
Well done, Marshy.
But man, was that a great speech you had. I even put it on the internet.
I think the best case scenario, I've showed you guys this play before with Tristan Jarry of the Penguins a couple of years ago in the playoffs, when he went tape to tape and allowed the game-winning goal because he fed it directly to the opponent. I forgot who they were playing that night. But he went tape to tape and got himself so far out of position. It was a great pass, but it was a great pass to the other team. Mm-hmm. I think at best, I fumble around with the puck, and then as I go to clear it, I actually feed it to the opponent, and they bury one, and also the other guy just clears me right out of the way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's this scene in Mighty Ducks. It's the first one that Charlie Conway, before he mastered the triple deke, he goes in on a breakaway. And Coach Gordon Bombay, one of the best in youth hockey.
Absolutely. One of the more underrated GMs in sports history.
He's thinking, maybe we'll score a goal here. Yeah. And then Charlie Conway goes down and just goes to take a shot, completely whiffs, and slides right into the boards.
Ooh.
I'm just visualizing that.
For me.
Yes.
Wow.
Except for you're in the defensive zone.
Yeah.
We're thinking, man, we're going to get this puck out of the zone. And then you get hemmed in.
Yeah.
And then they get scored on.
Yeah.
But
these are all realistic scenarios.
That's why you hire outside help for the clear at camp.
Yeah, very true.
Because you're a motivating person.
Yeah.
Some coaches, they didn't even step on the ice. They just coach from the bench.
Right. Not me. I get on the ice.
Right. But you don't have to skate around. You just kind of point. You get a stick.
Very true.
We'll give you a little helmet.
Yeah.
And just point. You just point.
Yep. Yeah, because it's really about demonstration at that point.
100%. Yeah, I've seen you with a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is he on skates or is he on?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just get a carpet out there. I'll wear my gym shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can wear gym shoes on the ice.
On the ice, yeah. I just don't want to fall.
Yeah, I don't think you will.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad we cleaned that up. So the under is what you guys are taking on whether or not I'd clear a puck.
What was it said
in an
again?
NHL game? A half.
0.5.
Half?
0.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the under.
Yeah, no, me too. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got 3 stars of the day, criticisms, comments, and what we learned here on 101 ESPN. Gentlemen, if you feel like you've lost your edge, the energy's not there, focus isn't there, drive isn't what it used to be, you got to go see my friends at Mentality. 2 different locations. They're open in South County and in Chesterfield. Convenient times, both before and after work, so that you can make sure that you can go down there, jump on their program, and they'll jumpstart your life again. Because when it comes to Mentality, if you've got low testosterone, you could be experiencing fatigue and low energy, weight gain, muscle loss, mood swings, irritability. And if you're like me or like Jamie was before Mentality, you might be completely lost. And you're like, well, I need to do this, I need to do that. Maybe you spend a bunch of money on supplements that flat out don't work. If you head down to Mentality, tell them that Jamie and Anthony sent you down there. They'll set you up properly. A lot of insurance covers Mentality, but all of a sudden you'll start to feel like you did when you were younger. From an energy standpoint, you'll notice that the clock is like, man, I still got plenty left in me. I really feel it, during the summertime when I'm mowing the lawn, I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm like, man, I can keep going here. Let's do something else. Or when the kids are asking to play outside after I've done a whole bunch of things, I got that energy. I'm ready to go. I love it. In the gym, I definitely experience it. So when it comes to Mentality, again, head down to one of their 2 locations. You can check them out at lowtusa.com as well. But when you tell them Jamie and Anthony send you down there, visit Mentality today. Get back your life, your first step to reclaiming your vitality. When it comes to Mentality, they are the best. Again, lowtusa.com. It's Mentality. right, poor clock management today by me left us with 0 time here. So let's get this out of the way. If you need to listen to the show, you missed it, podcast available at 101ESPN.com and your 101 ESPN mobile app. That's the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's mobile app. All podcasts brought to you by Schaefer Door Company. We've got a Blues Instant Replay here. All of Doug Armstrong's comments from earlier today on Brandon Saad and the state of the team. It should be interesting. For our guy Jamie Rivers, who was out sick today, for Andrew Marsh and Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. We will see you.